Waiting for Joe, waiting for Bart, hopefully. Who knows? Who knows? It might just be me and Anthony. We'll find out. Damn, I can smell that pizza. It smells bomb. Okay. All right. Yep. 1 sec. Send it to Peeps real quick. Boom. Let's go, Brandon. Iceman's here. Yep. Woo, sirs. Yes, sirs. What's up, Sid? Yeah, Colts lost, dude, by 2. Moral victory, though.
Or anything, or like
I'll take a water.
water?
Yeah. Hell yeah. We're at Anthony's spot right now. And we're watching the debate. That's the plan. Anywho. Texans all day, Glock. Ouchies. 1 by 2, but hey, credit to you guys. That was very close. Hi, Sofin. Nailed it. How are you? Anyone else coming in? It's all TBD. It's up in the air. We're seeing if the boys are coming through. We're seeing. Meek. Hey, Jam. What's up, bro? Hey, Lost Girl. You got your Timberlands on, Mike? Hell yeah, brother. Richardson's got, dude. He threw 65 yards. He could have thrown that from his knees. No joke. I was about to pass out. You forgot about the debat. I believe you meant to say. I love it. Fios immediately Trump 2024. Let's go, Fur. Niner gang reporting in. Congrats last night. Our happy place wasn't going to watch. Now she's watching. Let's fucking go, brother. Israel's here. What's up, bro? GM, sirs. Did he go cheap on his house? I mean, I'm in his house, so I got to be polite. I got to be polite right now. I thought you hated Anthony. Nothing's changed, dude. I'm just at his house. You know, it's a deeper cut now. Who else is joining? We'll find out, bro. I sent the link out to the boys, so Ryan's sick, I guess. Joe is probably cleaning the bathrooms right now at Junebee. What's up, Malcolm? Hey, a fan of you, Zuby. Appreciate you, Zuba. Oh, thanks, bud. Oh, shit. That's a real piece of pizza right there. Dang, dude. Look what Anthony got. Didn't go cheap on the pizza at all. Prince Street. Never had it before. So we're going to just see how this goes, right? We're going to see how this goes. Saints fan here. Okay, Malcolm. Raiders. Hey, respect, dude. That's like my third team now.
Raiders?
Yeah, well, because we live here.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
It's got to be Packers, right? Because Nikki, and then I miss Nikki too. She's at home. I just kissed her goodbye. Love you, Red. Too. No, you didn't. Take it back. Take it back right now.
Take it back.
Jared, what's up, bro? What's up, JC? Does it smell good there? Yeah, it smells bomb. It smells like pizza, dude. What's up, Lorado? I am not voting for Harris if she does this fucking unrealized gains tax, bro. I'll tell you that right now. Heck no, player.
We're bipartisan here. We're gonna see what happens. We're neutral.
That's facts. Maybe they can sway us. Maybe they sway us.
He's spilling onion on my floor, and the cats are probably gonna eat it.
Oh shit. Does he go there?
Anybody else have Prince Street pizza?
Shit's bomb, dude.
Right?
Absolutely.
Quality.
Prince Street pizza, dang. It's a thick boy.
It's real pizza, yeah.
Yeah. Well, Nikki likes Domino's. She's a garbage person. Her favorite pizza is Domino's.
It's just a different category.
It's a trash category, yeah.
I'm Pizza Hut.
Yeah, I'm a Pizza Hut guy too. Okay, here we go. 20 seconds, baby.
15 seconds. Joe said, I'm going to beam in.
We're ready, Bob.
He's saying if we can screen share the debate. Sorry, Joe, we're
I
watching
can't
the
do
debate
that.
on a TV.
Can't do that. We'll get DMCA or whatever the fuck.
I respond to him, but I'm eating pizza.
That's him. You're in Toronto, you can get that pizza. That's okay, bud. Just get pizza. Go grocery store, get French bread pizza, bud.
Tied in the polls nationally, they say.
I've seen a lot of bullshit, but back left both ways.
This is an ABC
Probably right.
special, the most consequential moment of this campaign. Kamala Harris.
We will chart a new way forward.
Donald Trump.
We will soon be.
I've never heard her talk before, so this will be interesting.
You mean like without a prompt?
Yeah, like off the cuff or whatever.
ABC News presidential debate.
Since the vice president showed me.
I think she's going to surprise us.
I think that's the meme, right?
It's on ABC News, but you can stream it on Disney Plus or Hulu because
Yeah.
Disney owns ABC.
There's definitely tuber streams out there, but we can't put it on a channel. It'll get taken down. Thank you, Jason. You're awesome, dude. I appreciate you.
Election day now less than 2 months away. For Vice President Kamala Harris, this is her first debate since President Biden withdrew from the race.
Yeah, we're live, dude.
Of course, that decision followed his debate against President
We'll answer Joe in a sec.
Since then, this race has taken on an entire
And that brings us to the rules of tonight's debate. 90 minutes with 2 commercial breaks. No topic.
This is not microwavable DiGiorno pizza, William. Tell you that.
Candidates will have 2 minutes to answer questions, and this is the clock.
Prince Street in Las Vegas,
2
dude.
minutes for rebuttals and 1 minute for follow-ups, clarifications, or responses. Their microphones will only be turned on when it's their turn to speak.
Crypto Corner tomorrow night, Nick.
It's allowed. There is no audience here tonight in this hall.
No
at the
audience.
National Constitution Center. This is an intimate setting for 2 candidates who never met.
President Trump won the
Like, why?
toss. He chose to deliver the final closing statement of the evening. Vice President Harris selected the podium to the right.
Vegas weather was like the end of the heat wave, bro. It was like a hundo.
President Kamala Harris
Hundo
and
3, I
President
think.
Donald Trump.
All right.
Oh, here they
Are we
are.
going to handshake?
Oh, they-
Handshake?
Oh, no. Oh, okay.
Is that big, big? Thank you.
All right, the handshake.
Oh, it's wonderful to have an honor to have you here tonight.
I would have lost that bet.
We are looking forward to a spirited and thoughtful debate.
So let's get started. I want to begin tonight with the issue that voters repeatedly say is their #1 issue, and that is the economy and the cost of living in this country. Vice President Harris, you and President
Economy
Trump
and cost of
were
living.
years ago.
First issue.
On
Well-
stage here tonight, often asks his supporters, "Are you better off than you were 4 years ago?" When it comes to the economy, do you believe Americans are better off than they were 4 years ago?
So I was raised as a middle class kid, and I am actually the only person on this stage who has a plan that is about lifting up the middle class and working people of America. I believe in the ambition, the aspirations, the dreams of the American people. And that is why I imagine and have actually a plan to build what I call an opportunity economy. Because here's the thing, we know that we have a
Do right now.
shortage of homes and housing. And the cost of housing is too expensive for far too many people. We know that young families need
Does
to
that mean she's not answering the question?
raise their children, and I intend on
She's
extending
not.
a tax cut for those families of $6,000, which is the largest child tax credit that we have given in a long time, so that those young families can afford to buy a crib, buy a car seat, buy clothes for their children. My passion, one of them, is small businesses. My mother raised my sister and me, but there was a woman who helped raise us. We call her our second mother. She was a small business owner. I love our small businesses. My plan is to give a $50,000 tax deduction to startup small businesses, knowing they are part of the backbone of America's economy. My opponent, on the other hand, his plan is to do what he has done before, which is to provide a tax cut for billionaires and big corporations, which will result in $5 trillion to America's deficit. My opponent has a plan that I call the Trump sales tax, which would be a 20% tax on everyday goods that you rely on to get through the month. Economists have said that Trump sales tax would actually result for middle-class families in about $4,000 more a year because of his policies and his ideas about what should be the backs of middle-class people paying for tax cuts for billionaires.
He sounds nervous.
President Trump will give you 2 minutes.
First of all, I have no sales tax. That's an incorrect statement. She knows that. We're doing tariffs on other countries. Other countries are going to finally, after 75 years.
After each question, you got to put who won that conversation, all right?
Love it.
Tariff will be substantial in some cases. I took in billions and billions of dollars of oil from China. In fact, they took the tariff off because there was so much money they can't. They would totally destroy everything that they've set out to do. They're taking in billions of dollars from China and other places. They've left the tariffs on. When I had it, I had tariffs and yet I had no inflation. Look, we've had a terrible economy because inflation has, which is really known as a country buster. It breaks up countries. We have inflation like very few people have ever seen before, probably the worst in our nation's history. We were at 21%, but that's being generous because many things are 50, 60, 70, and 80% higher than they were just a few years ago. This has been a disaster for people, for the middle class, but for every class. On top of that, we have millions of people pouring into our country from prisons and jails, from mental institutions and insane asylums, and they're coming in and they're taking jobs that are occupied right now by African Americans and Hispanics, and also unions. Unions are going to be affected very soon. And you see what's happening. You see what's happening with towns throughout the United States. You look at Springfield, Ohio. You look at Aurora in Colorado. They're
here's Joe.
taking over the towns. They're taking over buildings.
What's up, Joe?
Going in violently. These are the people that she and Biden.
We can't add the stream or they'll take it. They'll take us down.
Destroying our country.
How are other people doing it?
The highest level.
You're muted or I can't hear
No,
you.
it's
never
this.
mind.
I created one of the greatest economies in the history
No, you
of
go
our
ahead.
country. I'll do it again and even better.
Yeah, if we put the stream up, they could take us down. We're just being careful about that.
I would like to let Vice President Harris respond on the economy.
Well, I would love to. Let's talk about what Donald Trump left us.
Oh, here, Joe.
Donald Trump left us
Okay.
unemployment since the Great
All
Depression.
good.
Donald Trump
Joe, say
left
something?
us the worst
Can
public
you hear me?
health
No.
epidemic in a century.
Oh, wait, I got it.
Donald Trump left us
Say something now.
the worst attack
Can you guys
on our
hear me?
democracy
Yeah, I hear you.
since the
Okay.
Civil War. And what we have done
Okay, I
is
got it.
clean up Donald Trump's mess. What we
Where are
have
you guys
done is
watching it so I can sync it?
build on what we know are the aspirations and
What's
the
that,
hopes
bud?
of the American people. But
Where
I'm
are you
here to
guys
say
watching it?
tonight,
We're watching it on
the
ABC.
same old tired playbook.
Anthony has a Disney Plus, and it's on there.
Grievances and name
You could probably find a stream on
What you're
YouTube.
gonna hear tonight is a detailed and dangerous plan called Project 2025 that the former president and
Turn up the TV volume so we can hear it. It says Kings.
I believe.
Yeah, turn it up.
Yeah, we'll just listen to it with you guys.
Yeah.
A president
Can you hear
who
that?
understands the importance of bringing us together, knowing we have so much more in common than what separates us. And I pledge to you to be a president for all Americans.
President Trump will give you a minute to respond.
Number one, I have nothing to do, as you know, and as she knows better than anyone, I have
In
nothing.
the video.
Project 2025.
What's that, Joe?
That's out there. I
Hannah's
haven't read
here.
it. I don't want to read it.
Oh, hey.
I'm not
What's up,
going to
Hannah?
read it. This was a group of people that got together. They came up with some ideas. I guess some good.
Thanks for your
some bad.
donation, Kings. Appreciate you,
It
brother.
makes no difference. I have nothing to do. Everybody knows I'm an open book. Everybody knows what I'm going to do.
So they're still saying that he's a part of 2025?
Economy, like I did before. We had the
Yep.
greatest economy. We got hit with
That's a
pandemic. And the
bullshit.
pandemic was
Bunch of bullshit,
not
exactly.
Since
Such a bunch of
1917, where 100 million people died, has there been anything like it? We did a phenomenal job with the pandemic. We handed them over a country where the economy and where the stock market was higher than it was before the pandemic came in. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. We made ventilators
Nice, Joe.
for the entire world. We got gowns, we got masks, we did things that nobody thought possible. And people give me credit for
Okay, reduce the
rebuilding the military. They give me credit for a lot of things, but not enough credit for the great job we did with the pandemic. But the only jobs they got were bounce back jobs. These were jobs bounce back.
Yeah, the echo's real. I get you, bud. We're figuring it out.
But I was the one that created them. They know it, and so does everybody else.
Vice President Harris will respond.
So Donald Trump has no plan for you. And when you look at his economic plan, it's all about tax breaks for the richest people. I am offering what I describe as an opportunity economy, And the best economists in our country, if not the world,
No echo.
have
Okay, cool.
reviewed our
Okay, no
relative
echo.
plans
Awesome.
for the future
Audio's
of
good.
America.
Sick.
What Goldman Sachs has said,
So Folk fan says this is the most tuned in I've heard Trump sound in the last couple years.
worse, mine would strengthen the economy.
No echo.
What
Volume's
the one
fine.
school
Okay, sick.
has said is Donald Trump's plan would actually explode the deficit.
You could make it a little louder so
Or
people
Louder?
can hear it. Yeah, I think what we're all doing is we're just
and
listening
something that
to
would
the TV from
increase
you guys.
inflation by the middle of next year would invite a recession. You just have to look at where we are and where we stand on the issues. And I'd invite you to know that Donald Trump actually has no plan for you because he is more interested in defending himself than he is in looking out for you.
Should we turn the laptop around?
I went to the Wharton School of Finance, and many of those professors, the top professors, think my plan is a brilliant plan. It's a great plan. It's a plan
This
that's
debate's
going to
fucking
bring
funny.
up our worth, our value as a country. It's going to make people want to be able to go and work and create jobs and create a lot of good, solid money for our country. And just to finish off, she doesn't have a plan. She copied Biden's plan, and it's like 4 sentences, like run, spot, run. 4 sentences that are just, oh, we'll try and lower taxes. She doesn't have a plan. Take a look at her plan. She doesn't have a plan.
Mr. President, I do want to drill down on something you both brought up. The Vice President brought up your tariffs. You
This is the most
responded, and
he
let's drill
said,
down on
she
this
said
because
debate.
Your plan is what she calls is essentially a national sales tax. Your proposal calls for tariffs, as you pointed out here, on foreign imports across the board. You recently said that you might double your plan, imposing tariffs up to 20% on goods coming into this country. As you know, many economists say that with tariffs at that level, costs are then passed on to the consumer. Vice President Harris has argued it'll mean higher prices on gas, food, clothing, medication, arguing it costs the typical family.
Why didn't they allow us to drill more then,
Do
dude?
you believe Americans can afford higher prices because of tariffs?
They're not going to have higher prices. What's going to have, and who's going to have higher prices is China and all of the countries that have been ripping us off for years. I was the only president ever. China was paying us hundreds of billions of dollars, and so were other countries. And, you know, if she doesn't like them, they should have gone out and they should have immediately cut the tariffs. But those tariffs are there 3.5 years now under their administration. We are going to take in billions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars. I had no inflation, virtually no inflation. They had the highest inflation perhaps in the history of our country because I've never seen a worse period of time. People can't go out and buy cereal or bacon or eggs or anything else. The people of our country are absolutely dying with what they've done. They've destroyed the economy. And all you have to do is look at a poll. The polls say 80 and 85 and even 90% that the Trump economy was great, that their economy was terrible.
Vice President Harris, I do want to ask for your response. You heard what the president said there, because the Biden administration did keep
I hear you,
a
brother.
number of the Trump tariffs in place. So how do you respond?
Well, let's be clear that the Trump administration resulted in a trade deficit.
We'll get
one of the
a
highest we've
takedown
ever
notice,
seen in
bro.
the
We
history
can't get a
of
strike on the
America.
channel.
He invited trade wars. You want to talk about
Happened
his
to a lot of
deal
channels
with
during the
China.
last
What
debate.
he ended up doing is under Donald Trump's presidency, he ended up selling American chips to China to help them improve and modernize their military. Basically
Trash.
sold us out. When a
This is
policy
tequila, by the way.
about China should be in making sure the United States of America wins the competition for the 21st century, which means focusing on the details of what that requires, focusing on relationships with our allies, focusing on investing in American-based technology so that we win the race on AI, on quantum computing, focusing on what we need to do to support America's workforce so that we don't end up having on the short end of the stick in terms of workers' rights. But what Donald Trump did, let's talk about this, with COVID, is he actually thanked President Xi for what he did during COVID. Look at his tweet. Thank you, President Xi, exclamation point, when we know that Xi was responsible for lacking and not giving us transparency about the origins of COVID.
President Trump, will respond.
First of all, they bought their chips from Taiwan. We hardly make chips anymore because of philosophies like they have and policies like they have. I don't say her because she has no policy. Everything that she believed 3 years ago and 4 years ago is out the window. She's going to my philosophy now. In fact, I was going to send her a MAGA hat. She's gone to my philosophy, but if she ever got elected, she'd change it. And it will be the end of our country. She's a Marxist. Everybody knows she's a Marxist. Her father's a Marxist professor in economics, and he taught her well. But when you look at what she's
Hey
done
Joe,
to
can you
our
go
country,
into
and
the
when you look
JK
at
account
these
and make sure this is
millions and millions
monetized?
of people that are pouring into our country monthly, where it's, I believe, 21 million people, not the 15 that people say, and I think it's a lot higher than the 21. That's bigger than New York State pouring in. And just look at what they're doing to our country. They're criminals. Many of these people coming in are criminals. And that's bad for our economy, too. You know, you mentioned before, we'll talk about immigration later. Well, bad immigration is the worst thing that can happen to our economy. They have, and she has, destroyed our country with policy that's insane. Almost policy that you say they have to hate our country.
President Trump, thank you. Lindsay.
I want to turn to the issue of abortion. President Trump, you often touted the
All right, economy, where do you think it's at?
last year, you said
I mean, I don't think I don't think she made any case for me. Economy-wise, what about you?
I think once you said quantum mechanics, those are big terms.
That's big words.
Big words, very
Yeah.
impressive.
Yeah, very impressive. Dancers love big words.
That it was too short, and you said, quote, I'm going to be voting that we need.
Love you,
more than
M2.
6
Thank you,
states.
brother.
But
Appreciate
then
you.
The very next day, you reversed
And if you're a girl, I
course
apologize.
said you would vote to support
And thank
the
you.
6-week ban. Vice President Harris says that women shouldn't trust you on the issue.
Yeah, I think this is the problem
because
that she's going to run into is the economy is garbaggio for people who go to the store, right? Not for Bill Maher, but for people who actually like buy things
They have
in the economy.
abortion in the 9th month. They even have, and you can look at the governor of West Virginia, the previous governor of West Virginia, not the current governor, is doing an excellent job. But the governor before, he said the baby will be born and we will decide what to do with the baby. In other words, we'll execute the baby. And that's why I did that, because that predominates, because they're radical. The Democrats are radical in that. And her vice presidential pick, which I think is a horrible pick, by the way, for our country, because he is really out of it. But her vice presidential pick says abortion in the 9th month is absolutely fine. He also says execution after birth. It's an execution, no longer abortion, because the baby is born, is okay. And that's not okay with me, hence the vote. But what I did is something for 52 years, they've been trying to get Roe v. Wade into the states. And through the genius and heart and strength of 6 Supreme Court justices, we were able to do that. Now, I believe in the exceptions for rape, incest, and life of the mother. I believe strongly in it. Ronald Reagan did also. 85% of Republicans do exceptions. Very important. But we were able to get it, and now states are voting on it. And for the first time, you're going to see, look, this is an issue that's torn our country apart for 52 years. Every legal scholar, every Democrat, every Republican, liberal, conservative, they all wanted this issue to be brought back to the states where the people could vote. And that's what happened. Now, Ohio, the vote was somewhat liberal. Kansas, the vote was somewhat liberal, much more liberal than people would have thought. But each individual state is voting. It's the vote of the people now. It's not tied up in the federal government. I did a great service in doing it. It took courage to do it. And the Supreme Court had great courage in doing it. And I give tremendous credit to those 6 justices.
There is no state in this country where it is legal to kill a baby after it's born. Madam Vice President, I want to get your response to President Trump.
Well, as I said, you're going to hear a bunch of lies, and that's not actually a surprising fact. Let's understand how we got here. Donald Trump hand-selected 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention that they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade. And they did exactly as he intended. And now in over 20 states, there are Trump abortion bans, which make it criminal for a doctor to provide health care.
I hear you, bud.
In one state, it provides prison for life.
The microphone.
Trump abortion bans that make
Laptop.
no even for rape and
Yeah, I'm using my laptop microphone.
Understand what that means. A
Not
survivor
your
of
headphone or whatever.
violation to their
It doesn't
body
have one of those.
does not have the right to
Anthony,
make a decision
it's
about
Anthony's
what
thing, so he
happens
went
to
cheap
their
on it.
body next. That is illegal.
Um,
One does
I don't know
not
why,
need to
but like
put their face
you're like
or deeply
chewing
vocal
and all that stuff is super loud.
and
But then
don't
like
certainly should not
This,
be.
yeah, I don't know why it's like a mic that's.
Your body. I have talked
It
with
might
women
be that thing.
around our
So
country.
then your
Talk about this is what people wanted.
if it's taking it from there, it's enhancing
A
the
pregnancy
small noises like
suffering
mouse
from a
clicking
miscarriage
and
denied
yeah.
here in an emergency
Yeah, I don't
room
know.
because the
Do you have another
healthcare
mic?
providers are afraid they might go to jail
Yeah.
and she's bleeding
He's
out
gonna
in
look
a
for a
car in the parking lot. You didn't want that. Her husband didn't want that. A 12 or 13-year-old survivor of incest being forced to carry a pregnancy to term. They don't want that. And I pledge to you, when Congress passes a bill to put back in place the protections of Roe v. Wade, as President of the United States, I will proudly sign it into law. But understand, if Donald Trump were to be reelected, he will sign a national abortion ban. Understand, in his Project 2025, there would be a national
God, what a
monitor. that
don't
would
say
be
Project
monitoring
2025.
your
It's all
pregnancies,
stupid.
your miscarriages. I think the American
I
people
thought she did
believe
fine until that.
that certain freedoms, in particular the
Yo,
freedom
Jake,
to make
take it easy there,
decisions
bud.
about one's own body,
That's not true, dude. Don't say
should
that.
not be made by the government.
Thank you, Vice President Harris.
Well, there she goes again. It's a lie. I'm not signing a ban, and there's no reason to sign a ban because we've gotten what everybody wanted. Democrats, Republicans, and everybody else, and every legal scholar wanted it to be brought back into the states, and the states are voting. And it may take a little time, but for 52 years, this issue has torn our country apart, and they wanted it back in the states. And I did something that nobody thought was possible. The states are now voting. What she says is an absolute lie. And as far as the abortion ban, no, I'm not in favor of abortion ban, but it doesn't matter because this issue has now been taken over by the states.
Would you veto a national abortion ban if it
Well, I
came
won't
to us?
have to because again, and two things. Number one, she said she'll go back to Congress. She'll never get the vote. It's impossible for her to get the vote, especially now with the 50-50, essentially 50-50
What's up, PB?
vote, Senate and the House. She's not going to get the vote. She can't get the vote. She won't even come close to it. So it's just talk. You know what it reminds me of when they said they're going to get student loans terminated, and it ended up being a total catastrophe. The student loans, and then her, I think probably her boss, if you call him a boss, he spends all his time on the beach. But look, her boss went out and said, we'll do it again. We'll do it a different way. He went out, got rejected again by the Supreme Court. So all these students got taunted with this whole thing about this whole idea. And how unfair that would have been, part of the reason they lost, to the millions and millions of people that had to pay off their student loans. They didn't get it for free. But they were saying it's the same way that they talked about that they talk about abortion.
Yes or no, because you're
We got a blue. You guys hear us?
And I don't mind if he has a
Pretty good, Joe?
Yeah.
Turn it around.
Yeah, that
Like
sounds
that-ish?
pretty good.
Yeah. It's on ready now.
Okay, they want to be able to hear that?
No, they want to be able to hear. I think Joe was saying he couldn't hear us. So now it's like better. It should be. But this is the cheapest Yeti. Just on the record, this is the cheapest Yeti
This
you
is
can
an
buy.
expensive Yeti. If you guys know
That's the cheapest one you can buy.
the blue Yeti.
Cheapest one you can
If you know anything about audio, which Steve doesn't, he doesn't even realize that I'm the one talking into the mic. Nobody can hear him as good. Yeah, it's a really good Yeti.
And now you have a vote of the people on abortion.
Vice President Harris will give you your time to respond. But
I don't know what they
ask,
said about
would you
abortion.
support any
Oh
restriction-
yeah, now they can't hear the debate.
No, it's not cheap on the Wi-Fi. This is actually a fiber optics, which he doesn't even have.
It's so cheap on the
pre-wired in his
Wi-Fi
house.
that it says connection unstable.
He had to come over because he doesn't have fiber.
I'll show you guys. It says connection unstable.
It's because you have a sheet.
Actually, guys,
No.
yeah, no one can hear the debate now. I think what
This is
people
the
were
real
It's
doing
the
debate.
HBNB.
This is the
It's
real
HBNB.
debate.
And understand what has been happening.
I think
You
they were
didn't
just
want to take the photo
listening
because it
to
looked
the
better, huh?
debate
No,
from
no,
your
yeah,
guys'
yeah.
computer.
Shitty laptop.
and dream of having a
Yeah, I think they were listening to the debate from your guys' computer.
What is happening in our country? Working people, working women
You see that?
who are
One little
working
bar.
one or two
Connection
jobs,
unstable.
who can barely afford childcare as it is, have to travel to another
Insane.
state.
Insane.
Oh, the Anthony
Yeah,
how
Lai
does he live
who's
like
talking
this?
shit, you're actually a worthless piece of human.
How does he
So
live like this?
Feel free to log off.
Barely can afford to do it, and what you are
I'm
putting
surprised
us
Trump isn't like,
through
what?
is
Said
unconscionable. And
totally
the people of America
Ridiculous.
We have every device on Wi-Fi. We're streaming the debate. Joe's having problems streaming the debate. He's trying to listen to us right now. Okay, this is how amazing what we're doing is. We're communicating internationally, almost water-wise.
I think everyone's trying to listen to the debate on your guys'
Another line.
computer.
Another line. I have been a leader on IVF, which is fertilization. The IVF, I have been a leader. In fact,
Joe got a ciggy, dude. Look at his cigar.
Decision on IVF from the Alabama courts.
Is that Cuban?
Of Alabama and the legislature
Not this
2
one.
days later voted it in.
I can't hear you, Joe.
This
Hang
is
on.
like
On it.
Dominican
They know
or
that, and everybody
Lost
knows
him.
it. I have been a leader on fertilization IVF. And the other thing, they
He muted us for a
He
second.
muted us. Okay.
will she allow abortion in the
Can you
8th
guys
month,
hear me?
9th month, 7th
I don't hear him.
month? Okay.
Oh, it's probably going. My audio's probably going through the mic now.
Why don't you ask me
Why,
that
why
question?
don't you
That's
answer the
problem.
question? Would you
Because
veto?
under Roe v.
Answer
Wade,
the question.
Look,
would
look.
you
you
veto?
could
Both
do
mics are on right
abortions in the 7th month, the 8th
Can you hear me
month,
now?
the 9th
That's
month,
not true.
and
All
probably
right.
after birth.
At least
Just
everyone
look
can
at
hear.
the
Hold on.
governor, former governor of Virginia. The governor of Virginia said we put the baby aside and then we determine what we want to do with the baby.
President Trump, thank you.
We're going to turn now to
You guys could go back to the old setup.
We know it's an issue that's important to Republicans, Democrats, voters across the board.
All right, now we're going to talk about immigration and border security. So feel free to throw in your votes and how you felt about the abortion topic.
This past June, President Biden imposed tough new asylum restrictions.
They said I'm good on quality and sound.
Significant.
This is the cigar I'm smoking.
Tonight is why did the administration wait until 6 months before the election to act? And would you have done anything differently from President Biden on this?
So I'm the only person on this stage who has prosecuted transnational criminal organizations for the trafficking of guns, drugs, and human beings. And let me say that the United States Congress, including some of the most conservative members of the United States Senate, came up with a border security bill, which I supported. And that bill would have put 1,500 more border agents on the border to help those folks who are working there right now overtime, trying to do their job. It would have allowed us to stem the flow of fentanyl coming into the United States. I know there's so many families watching tonight who have been personally affected by the surge of fentanyl.
Dude, why is she talking like she's not in charge right now?
Would have put more resources to allow us.
That's
to
what I don't get.
prosecute
I wish she'd said
transnational
something about
criminal
that.
Organizations for trafficking in guns, drugs, and human
Also,
beings.
the hard
You know
part
what
is-
happened to that bill?
It's like if you're talking about putting 1,500 more border agents to help stop it, it's like the reason why they're trying to come over is because they have so many rights and they're getting so much assistance.
Yeah, they're getting bussed around.
Yeah.
And flights.
This comes at a time where the people of our country
So
actually
how do you solve that?
who engages in solutions, who actually addresses the problems at hand. But what we have in the former president is someone.
I will
who
say
would
she's a
prefer to run
way
on the
fucking
problem
better speaker
instead
than
of fixing the
Biden.
problem.
Oh, yeah. It's not
I'll
even
tell you
close.
something. He's going to talk about immigration a lot tonight, even when it's not the subject that is being raised. And I'm going to actually do something really unusual, and I'm going to invite you to attend one of Donald Trump's rallies because it's a really interesting thing to watch. You will see during the course of his rallies, he talks about fictional characters like Hannibal Lecter. He will talk about windmills cause cancer. And what you will also notice is that people start
What the
leaving
fuck is
his
she talking
rallies
about?
early out of exhaustion and boredom. And I will tell you, the one thing you will not hear him talk about is you. You will not hear him talk about your needs, your dreams.
The windmills
your
causing
dreams,
cancer
your
thing is what
desires.
happened off the
And I'll
coast
tell
of
you, I
Nantucket
believe
when they
you
had all those fucking
deserve
chemicals getting
a
dumped in the
president
water
who actually
because
puts
that
you first.
windmill,
And I pledge
that
to
steel
you that I
windmill
will.
broke, and there's all this like asbestos in it and shit.
On that point, I want to get your
Well, I would
response.
like to respond.
Let me just ask though, why did you try to kill that bill and successfully so? That would have put thousands of additional agents and officers on the board.
First, let me
Oh,
respond to
please.
the rallies.
David,
She
Miller.
said people start leaving. People don't go to her rallies. There's no reason to go. And the people that do go, she's bussing them in and paying them to be there and then showing them in a different light. So
He took
she
the
can't
bait
talk
on
about
that.
People don't leave my rallies. We have the biggest
Took
rallies,
the bait.
most incredible rallies in the history. of
Don't
politics.
take the bait on that
Because
shit.
People want to take their country
Jesus,
back.
dude.
Our country
Here we
is
go.
being lost. We're a failing nation. And it happened 3.5 years ago. And what's
Smart move by her.
You're going to end up in World War III, just to go into another subject. What they have done to our country by allowing these millions and millions of people to come into our country, and look at what's happening to the towns all over the United States. And a lot of towns don't want to talk. It's not going to be Aurora or Springfield. A lot of towns don't want to talk about it because they're so embarrassed by it. In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country. And it's a shame. As far as rallies are concerned, as far as the reason they go is they like what I say. They want to bring our country back. They want to make America great again. It's a very simple phrase, make America great again. She's destroying this country. And if she becomes president, this country doesn't have a chance of success. Not only success, we'll end up being Venezuela on steroids.
I just want to clarify here. You bring up Springfield, Ohio, and ABC News did reach out to the city manager there. He told us there had been no credible reports of specific claims of pets being harmed, injured, or abused by individuals within the immigrant community.
Well, I've seen people on television.
Let me just say here, this is
The people on television said my dog was taken and used for food.
There's police reports
Maybe
about
he
this,
said
dude.
that, and maybe that's a good thing to say for a city manager.
I'm not taking this from
But the
television.
people
I'm
on
taking it from
television
the
say
city
my
manager.
dog was eaten by the people that went there.
Again, the Springfield city manager says there's no evidence of that. I'll let you respond to that.
Extreme. This is, I think, one of the reasons why in this election, I actually have the endorsement of 200 Republicans who have formerly worked with President Bush, Mitt Romney.
Yeah, Dick
and
Cheney.
John
Don't
McCain,
brag about that shit,
including
dude.
the endorsement
Yikes.
of former Vice President Dick Cheney.
Why would you say that?
Member Liz Cheney.
Oh my
And
lord.
If you want to really know the inside track on who
Killed 1 million
the
Iraqis.
president is, if you didn't make it clear already, just ask people who have worked with him. His former chief of staff, a 4-star general, has said he has contempt for the Constitution of the United
Hand me that
States.
bottle.
His former national security advisor has said he is dangerous and unfit. His former secretary of defense has said the nation, the republic, would never survive another Trump term. And when we listen to this kind of rhetoric,
I'm not sold on her policies and what she's saying, but I think she's doing better in this debate.
She definitely is. He's false for the rally shit nonstop, and it's actually hilarious to watch. People go to my rallies.
Because
She says they don't go to my rallies. They do.
See, I'm a different kind of a person. I fired most of those people. Not so graciously. They did bad things or a bad job. I fired them.
Rex
They never
Tillerson
fired
was
one
terrible.
person. They didn't fire anybody having to do with Afghanistan and the Taliban and the 13 people who's were just killed.
She should say you hired them, though.
Killed.
That's what I would
You
say.
know, the parents and the family. They didn't fire. They should have fired all those generals, all those top people, because that was one of the most incompetently handled situations anybody has ever seen. So when somebody does a bad job, I fire him. And you take a guy like Esper.
He's talking like he's on The Apprentice.
He writes a book. Another one writes a book. Because with me, they can write books. With nobody else can they? But they have done such a poor job, and they never fire anybody. Look at the economy. Look at the inflation. They didn't fire anybody.
I think the stream I'm watching is a few seconds ahead of your guys'.
Way not to have books written about
That's a
you.
picture behind Joe.
Just
He's in the
finish.
June B bathroom
Got
right
more
now.
votes than any Republican in history by far. In fact, I got more votes than any sitting president in history by far.
He should just move on to now. He shouldn't do this shit.
Earlier, so let's get back to your deportation proposal that the vice president has reacted to as well. President Trump, you call this the largest domestic deportation operation in the history of our country. You say you would use the National Guard. You say if things get out of control.
Yeah, I don't think they can hear me either,
problems in
guys.
the U.S.
Local
military.
police.
You also said you would use local police. How would you deport 11 million undocumented immigrants? I know you believe that number is much higher. Take us through this. What does this look like? Will authorities be going door to door in this country?
It is much higher because of them. They allowed criminals, many millions of criminals. They allowed terrorists. They allowed common street criminals. They allowed people to come in, drug dealers, to come into our country. And they're now in the United States and told by their countries like Venezuela, don't ever come back or we're going to kill you. Do you know that crime in Venezuela and crime in countries all over the world is way down? You know why?
I can't hear Joe, but it's all good. We'll figure it out.
The street, and they've given them
We'll work it out for the
to come
election.
into our country. And this will be one of the greatest mistakes in history for them to allow. And I think
At least you guys can hear Joe.
because they think they're going to get votes. but it's not worth it because they're destroying the fabric of our country by what they've done. There's never been anything done like this at all. They've destroyed the fabric of our country. Millions of people let in, and all over the world, crime is down all over the world except here. Crime here is up and through the roof, despite their fraudulent statements that they made. Crime in this country is through the roof, and we have a new form of crime. It's called migrant crime, and it's happening at levels that nobody thought possible.
President Trump, as you know, the FBI says overall violent crime is actually coming down in this country. But
Excuse me, the FBI they were defrauding statements. They didn't include the worst cities. They didn't include the cities with the worst crime. It was a fraud, just like their number of 818,000 jobs that they said they created turned out to be a fraud.
President Trump, thank you. I'll let you respond.
Oh shit.
Well, I think
That's
this
true.
is so rich, coming from someone who has been prosecuted for national security crimes, economic crimes, election interference, has been found liable for sexual assault, and his next big court appearance is in November at his own criminal sentencing. And let's be clear, where each person stands on the issue of what is important about respect for the rule of law and respect for law enforcement. The former vice president called for defunding federal law enforcement, 45,000 agents, get this, on the day after he was arraigned on 34 felony counts. So let's talk about what is important in this race. It is important that we move forward, that we turn the page on this same old tired rhetoric and address the needs of the American people, address what we need to do about the housing shortage, which I have a plan for, address what we must do to support our small businesses, address bringing down the price of groceries. But frankly, the American people are exhausted with this same old tired playbook.
Vice President Harris, thank you.
Excuse me, every one of those cases was started by them against their political opponent. And I'm winning most of them, and I will win the rest on appeal. And you saw that with the decision that came down just recently from the Supreme Court. I'm winning most of them. But those are cases, it's called weaponization. Never happened in this country. They weaponized the Justice Department. Every one of those cases was involved with the DOJ, from Atlanta and Fani Willis to the Attorney General of New York and the DA of New York. Every one of those cases. And then they say, oh, he's a criminal. They're the ones that made them go after me. By the way, Joe Biden was found essentially guilty on the documents case. Now, what happened in my documents case? They said, oh, that's the toughest of them all. A complete and total victory. 2 months ago, it was thrown out. It's weaponization, and they used it, and it's never happened in this country. They used it to try and win an election. They're fake cases.
President Trump, thank you. A really quick response here, Vice President Harris, on this notion of weaponization.
That's crazy.
Well, let's talk about extremes.
Just the
and
fact that that's even a
understand the context
conversation.
in which this election in 2024 is taking place. The United States Supreme Court recently ruled that the former president would essentially be immune from any misconduct if he were to enter the White House again.
That is not true.
Understand, this
It has
is
to be an
someone who
official act as
openly
president.
said
You're not
he would
immune from
terminate,
anything,
I'm
bro.
quoting, terminate the Constitution of the United States. That he would weaponize the
See, why do they
Department
gotta
of
lie?
Justice
You can just
against
hit them on
his
real
political
things.
and
Hit them on real things.
someone who has openly expressed disdain for members of our military. Understand what it would mean if Donald Trump were back in the White House with no guardrails. Because certainly we know now the court won't stop him. We know J.D. Vance is not going to stop him. It's up to the American people.
Vice President
stop
Harris,
him.
thank you. Lindsay?
Daniel, you should check out what happened with the documents case, brother. The FBI actually staged fucking pictures where they took pictures of cover photos saying classified, laid it out on the ground as if that's what they found. That's not what they found. They had to admit that in open court. Not exactly a good look.
The threat to democracy was a fake Russia investigation that went nowhere.
We have a lot to get to. Lindsay?
Vice President Harris, in your last run for president, you said you wanted to ban fracking. Now you don't. You wanted mandatory government buyback programs for assault weapons. Now your campaign says you don't. You supported decriminalizing border crossings. Now you're taking a harder line. I know you say that your values have not changed. So then why have so many of your policy positions changed?
So
Oh shoot! What the hell happened? I don't know what happened. Did I get kicked off?
President of the United States, and in fact, I was the tie-breaking vote on the Inflation Reduction Act, which opened new leases for fracking.
I think the guys got kicked
Is
off.
that we have got to invest in diverse sources of energy so we reduce our
What happens is I have a
reliance on
fucking
foreign
gamer
oil.
mouse, and if you hit a button, it sucks. I hate gamer mouses. I fucking hate it.
Increase in
That's what happened.
domestic oil production in history because of an approach that recognizes
Cheap
that
house.
we cannot over-rely on foreign
Cheap
oil.
house Wi-Fi.
As it relates to my values, let me tell you, I grew up.
Hey, Yash, do you think she's gonna drill?
Raised by a hardworking
Actual
mother
question, bro.
who worked and saved and was able to buy our first home when I was a
Yeah, no,
teenager.
legit. The grocery stores aren't even getting
Values I bring
5%
to the importance
margins
of
right now.
homeownership, knowing not everybody got handed $400 million on a silver platter and then filed bankruptcy 6 times, is a value that I bring to my work, to say we are going to work with the private sector and home builders to increase 3 million homes, increase by 3 million homes. by
So
the
what was
end
her
of my
situation?
first
She
term.
really was like, I'm trying to ban
My
fracking,
work
like
is related
in
to
general, or
having
like
a friend
She talked about it
in high
in
school who
the
was
last
sexually assaulted by her stepfather.
debate.
And my focus then on protecting
When she was
women
running
and
for
children
president.
from violent crime is based on a value that is deeply grounded.
This one's
in
a
the
AVO.
importance of standing up for those who are most vulnerable. My work
Asking
that is
what
about
kind of cigar it
protecting
is,
Social
so
Security and Medicare
AVO.
is based on long-standing
Joe's showing
work
us
that
a
I have
cigar.
done, protecting seniors
What kind,
from
bud?
scams. My
Is it
Cuban?
values have not
No.
changed.
Not Cuban.
And what is
Cuban.
important is that there is a president who actually brings values and a perspective that is about lifting people up and not beating people down and name calling. The true measure of the leader is the leader who actually understands that strength is not in beating people down, it's in lifting people up. I intend to be that president.
President Trump, your
Well, first of
response?
all, I wasn't given $400 million. I wish I was. My father was a Brooklyn builder, Brooklyn, Queens, and a great father, and I learned a lot from him, but I was given a fraction of that, a tiny fraction, and I built it into many, many billions of dollars, many, many
Don't
billions.
fall for this,
And when
bro.
people see it, they
Talk
are
about
even surprised.
the people,
So
dude.
we don't have to talk about that. Fracking, she's been against it for 12 years. Defund the police, she's been against that forever. She gave all that stuff up very wrongly, very horribly, and everybody's laughing at it, okay? They're all laughing at it. She gave up at least 12 and probably 14 or 15 different policies. Like, she was big on defund the police. In Minnesota, she went out, wait a minute, I'm talking now. If you don't mind, please.
He's not doing a good
Does that sound
job.
familiar?
That was pretty good. That was pretty good.
She went out in Minnesota and wanted to lift criminals that killed people, that burned down Minneapolis. She went out and raised money to get them out of jail. She did things that nobody would ever think of. Now she wants to do transgender operations on illegal aliens that are in prison. This is a radical left liberal that would do this. She wants to confiscate your guns, and she will never allow fracking in Pennsylvania. If she won the election, fracking in Pennsylvania will end on day one. Just to finish one thing, so important in my opinion. So I got the oil business going like nobody has ever done before. When they took over, they got rid of it, started getting rid of it, and the prices were going up the roof. They immediately let these guys go to where they were. I would have been 5 times, 4 times, 5 times higher, because you're talking about 3.5 years ago. They got it up to where I was because they had no choice, because the prices of energy were quadrupling and doubling. You saw what happened to gasoline. So they said, let's go back to Trump. But if she won the election, the day after that election, they'll go back to destroying our country, and oil will be dead, fossil fuel will be dead, we'll go back to windmills, and we'll go back to solar, where they need a whole desert to get some energy to come out. You ever see a solar plant? By the way, I'm a big fan of solar, but they take 400, 500 acres of desert
President
soil.
Trump, we have a
These
lot
are
of
not good
issues
things
that
for
we
the
have to get to.
environment.
We're
She
out of
understands.
time. Thank you.
Lindsay, thank you. We have an election in just 56 days. And I want to talk about the peaceful transfer of power, which, of course, we all know is
Jesus
cornerstone of
Christ,
democracy,
fucking
and the
David
role of
Muir.
the president in a moment of crisis.
Oh.
On January 6th,
Somebody said I'm so cheap, I bought the crack house.
Right there with
It's not even clever.
the country and the world saw it played out at the Capitol that day. The
It's good though. I mean, good attempts.
That's Andre, dude. That's just Andre.
I mean, work on it.
Tweak it. Answer-Kami's way better. Way better. Grippy's
Yeah, that's
yeah,
definitely
Grippy's
better. Especially when you give $2.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a fucking commie.
Yeah,
You win.
100% better.
For sure.
Grippy, add a baby Grippy.
Just gotta win well. You know?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
there's like tact to this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they hear me at all. But okay.
What did Eric say? Anthony in the hood. Okay.
We should have cigars, but Anthony, look, he went so cheap on the house. If we smoked indoors, it would stick to the walls.
So, yeah. Well,
Yeah, it's not, wouldn't be like that at my
technically,
house.
if you go
so
cheap
that-
in the house, you could smoke indoors.
At my house, wouldn't be like that. So.
All right. I mean,
He won't let us smoke indoors. Am I wrong?
talk to Nina. I don't care.
I'm not smoking in your house, bro. My mother would kill me.
Next time I'll bring some cigars for everybody. I'll bring these guys. I'll bring these for you guys.
They're coming in from all over the world, David. All over the world. And crime rates are down all over the world because of it.
Wow.
One of those, David, one of those people.
Here's Hong Kong, $100. How much is that?
Yeah, I can
Thank you,
hear
Kings.
But I don't
Joe
know
knows.
if you guys can hear me. But you guys can hear me, right? So I think that's all that kind of matters.
But let me just ask
You
you.
might ask her that
If
question.
you were the president, you were watching.
They'll probably try to fix it
It's a very
once,
simple question as we move forward toward another election.
we stop
Is there
watching
anything
it,
you
but I don't
regret
know.
about what you did on that day? Yes.
I had nothing to do with that other than they asked me to make a speech. I showed up for a speech. I said, I think it's going to be big.
Actually, those
I went
sirens
to
are coming
Nancy
from my
Pelosi
house.
And the
So
mayor of Washington, D.C., and the mayor put it back in writing.
I'm
as
drinking
you
a
know.
coffee with my
I said, you
cigar.
know, this is going to be a very big rally or whatever you want to call it. And again, it wasn't done by me. It was done by others. I said, I'd like to give you 10,000 National Guard or soldiers. They rejected me. Nancy Pelosi rejected me. It was just 2 weeks ago. Her daughter has a tape of her
It's true, I
saying
saw it.
she is fully responsible for what happened. They want to get rid of that tape. It would have never happened if Nancy Pelosi and the mayor of Washington did their jobs. I wasn't responsible for security. Nancy Pelosi was responsible. She didn't do her job.
The question was about you as president, not about former Speaker Pelosi, but I do want Vice President Harris to respond here.
God, he is so biased. This Muir guy.
On January 6th. I was the vice president-elect. I was also an acting senator. I was there. And on that day, the president of the United States incited a violent mob to attack our nation's capital, to desecrate our nation's capital. On that day, 140 law enforcement officers were injured, and some died.
They did not die because of the fucking
Former
Capitol
president
riot,
has
bro.
been indicted and impeached for exactly that reason. But this is not an isolated situation.
He was acquitted in the
Let's
Senate.
remember Charlottesville, where there was a mob of people carrying tiki torches, spewing anti-Semitic hate. And what did the president then?
Will they correct
say?
this? This will be interesting.
There were fine people on
Fine
each
people, and
side.
he said, will David Muir correct this?
That when it came to the Proud Boys, a militia, the president
'Cause he said,
the former president said, stand
quote,
back and stand by.
He said, quote,
So
I'm not talking about the white
everyone
supremacists
watching
and the
who remembers
nationalists.
what
They should be
January
condemned
6th
totally.
was, I say, we don't have to go back. Let's not go back.
Come on,
We're
Mira.
not going back. It's time to turn the page. And if that was a bridge too far,
Even
for you,
Snopes
there
knows
is
that
a
shit.
place
He
in
won't correct it. I'm
our
with you,
campaign
JC.
for
It's
you
just so
to stand for country,
glaring.
to stand for our democracy, to stand for rule of law.
I mean, from a debate perspective, it's a good point to reaffirm if you know that they're not going to correct it.
Yeah, you're not wrong. But man, that is just 3v1. She can't even solo him.
Be clear on that point. Donald Trump, the candidate, has said in this election there will be a bloodbath if this and the outcome of this election is not to his liking.
Joe muted his mic, probably taking a
Let's turn
sip.
the page on this. Let's not go back. Let's chart a course for the
Yeah.
future.
I muted my mic.
And not
Yep.
go backwards to the
It's
past.
actually very smart the way that she's doing this.
It was a different term, and it was a term that related to energy because they have destroyed our energy business.
And again,
That was where
if he gets
was.
baited into the
Also,
conversation,
on
it's a
Charlottesville,
downhill thing.
That story has been, as you would say, debunked. Laura
There it is.
Ingraham, Sean Hannity, Jesse, all of these people, they covered it. If they go an extra sentence, they will see it.
Don't
was
say Sean
covered.
Hannity
It was
ever.
debunked in almost every newspaper, but they still bring it up, just like they bring
Say
2025 up. They bring all of this stuff up. I ask you this, you talk about the Capitol. Why are we allowing these millions of people to come through on the southern border? How come she's not doing anything? And I'll tell you what I would do, and I would be very proud to do it. I would say we would both leave this debate right now. I'd like to see her go down to Washington, D.C. during this debate, because we're wasting a lot of time. Go down to, because she's been so bad, it's so ridiculous. Go down to Washington, D.C. and let her sign a bill to close up the border, because they have the right to do it. They don't need bills. They have the right to do it. The President of the United States, you'll get him out of bed, you'll wake him up at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, you say, come on down to the office, let's sign a bill. If he signs a bill that the border is closed, all he has to do is say it to the Border Patrol, who are phenomenal. If they do that, the border is closed.
Mr.
Those
President.
people are killing many people, unlike.
Here comes the fact check
We talked
on
immigration
Trump.
here tonight. I do want to focus on this next issue to both of you, because it really brings us.
He didn't say anything about
this
Charlottesville.
truth,
Unbelievable.
times that we're living in.
These guys,
Mr.
man.
President, for 3.5 years after you launched the 2020 election, you repeatedly falsely claimed that you won, many times saying you won in a landslide. In the past couple of weeks leading up to this debate, you have said, quote, you lost by a whisker, that you, quote, didn't quite make it, that you came up a little bit short. Are you now acknowledging that you lost in 2020?
No, I don't acknowledge it at all. I
But you
said
did
that
say it.
sarcastically, you know that. It was said, oh, we lost by a whisker. That was said sarcastically. Look, there's so much proof. All you have to do is look at it. And they should have sent it back to the legislatures for approval. I got almost 75 million votes, the most votes any sitting president has ever gotten. I was told that I got 63, which was what I got in 2016. You can't be beaten. The election, people should never be thinking about an election as fraudulent. We need two things. We need walls, and we have to have it. We have to have borders, and we have to have good elections. Our elections are bad. And a lot of these illegal immigrants coming in, they're trying to get them to vote. They can't even speak English. They don't even know what country they're in practically. And these people are trying to get them to vote. And that's why they're allowing them to come into our country.
I did watch all of these pieces of video. I didn't detect the sarcasm, lost by a whisper. We didn't quite make it. And we should just point out here as clarification, and you know this.
That's
you know,
subjective,
60
bro.
cases in front of many judges, many of them
No judge looked at
Republican.
it.
And said
They
there's
said
no
we didn't have
widespread
standing.
No standing.
That's the other thing. They said we didn't have standing, a technicality. Can you imagine a system where a person in an election doesn't have standing? The president of the United States doesn't have standing. That's how we lost. If you look at the facts, and I'd love
Yeah, Nikki was on Tosh like a week and a half ago, I
I'll show
think.
you Georgia, and I'll show you Wisconsin, and I'll show you Pennsylvania, and I'll show you. We have so many facts and statistics, but you know what? That doesn't matter. Because we have
I have a
to
good
solve
buddy
the
named
problem
John
that we have
Elric, who
right now.
I used to
And
work
the
with at
problem
Maker
that we have
Studios.
right now is
He's
we
now
have
Tosh's
a
producer,
nation
so he
in
was able
decline,
to hook
and they have
that
put
interview
it
up.
into decline. We have
Super
a
good guy.
nation that is dying, David.
Mr. President, thank you. Vice President Harris, you heard the president there tonight. He said he didn't say that he lost by a whisper. So he still believes he did not lose the election. That was won by President Biden and yourself. But I do want to ask you about something that's come up in the last couple of days. This was a post from President Trump about this upcoming election just weeks away. He said, when I win, those people who cheated, and then he lists donors, voters, election officials, he says will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, which will include long-term prison sentences. One of your campaign's top lawyers responded saying, we won't let Donald Trump intimidate us. We won't let him suppress the vote. Is that what you believe he's trying to do here?
Donald Trump was fired by 81 million people. So let's be clear about that. And clearly he is having a very difficult time processing that. But we cannot afford to have a president of the United States who attempts, as he did in the past, to upend the will of the voters in a free and fair election. And I'm going to tell you that I have traveled the world as vice president of the United States. And world leaders are laughing at Donald Trump. I have talked with military leaders, some of whom worked with you. And they say
It's a
you're
very strong mic.
disgrace.
I didn't go cheap on the mic.
And when you then talk
Kinda cheap
in this way,
for these
in a
results.
Do you even know what
presidential
brand this
debate
is?
and deny
Yeah.
what over and over again are court cases you have lost because you did in fact lose that election. it leads one to believe that perhaps we do not have in the candidate to my right the temperament or the ability to not be confused about fact. That's deeply troubling, and the American people deserve better.
I'll give you 1 minute to respond, Mr. President.
Hey, let me just say about world leaders. Viktor Orban, one of the most respected men, they call him a strong man. He's a tough person, smart. Prime Minister of Hungary. They said, why is the whole world blowing up? 3 years ago, it wasn't. Why is it blowing
Yeah,
up?
this is the tactic. The reason why we keep on talking about this bullshit of the past and stuff is because if we talk about the president in the future, it's not going to be a good look for her because of the current president's role. Like,
Well, that's why
because-
she's doing such a good job of
yeah, she's keeping it in the
she's
past.
keeping him
bringing
in the
up
past.
Everything in the
Yeah,
past, so
it's
you
really
can't
smart.
address everything right now.
It's really smart.
So she's like, low key, she's winning this
She
debate,
is
even
absolutely
though
winning this
the
debate.
facts are so.
There's no
like-
question. Well, she's getting triple teamed, but it doesn't matter because she's keeping him in the past. He could break through it. We've all seen him do it before. But she's just literally wrecking him with
and she can stay
little
composed.
things. It doesn't take much.
Yeah.
Viktor Orban said it. He said the most respected, most feared person is Donald Trump. We had no problems.
And it's
with
hard
him
because
as
he's bringing up true
president.
things, but these aren't things that I
The
think
layman's don't know this.
The multitude of the American people can really sit behind.
You
as
should be
much.
talking about grocery prices and gas prices the whole goddamn day
Yeah.
and nothing else.
You talk about a threat to democracy. He got 14 million votes and they threw him out of office. And you know what?
Yo, good luck, Philip.
Oh my goodness.
Thinking of you, bro.
Hey, be careful.
Yeah, be careful, dude.
She got 0 votes. And
Get on a really high chair.
she was the
That's what I
first one
recommend.
to leave because she failed.
If you get on the roof, the helicopter picks you up, and then you become a viral meme.
I've seen that.
Turning now
Those
to
guys.
Israel-Hamas.
Joe showed me a lot of flood videos.
There's still being held, Americans among them. Vice President Harris, in December, you said, quote, Israel has a right to defend itself, but you added, quote, it matters how, saying international humanitarian.
Chenille, who the fuck is the president right now, brother?
Israel must do more to protect innocent civilians.
This is where we're at, my guy.
Oh, this is a big one. Israel Hamas.
Yeah, yeah.
I really want to see what she says.
Just last week, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said there's not a deal in the making. President Biden has not been able to break through the stalemate. How would you do it?
Wasn't there a ceasefire that was already proposed that Hamas accepted, and then they just vetoed it?
October 7th,
That happened a couple months after.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like February or March.
Yeah. March.
slaughtered 1,200 Israelis. Many of them young
The Brits
people who
overturned
were
it.
simply attending a concert. Women were horribly raped. And so absolutely, I said then, I say now, Israel has a right to defend itself. We would. And how it does so matters. Because it is also true, far too many innocent Palestinians have been killed. Children, mothers. What we know is that this war must end. It must end immediately, and the way it will end is we need a ceasefire deal and we need the hostages out. And so we will continue to work around the clock on that. Work around the clock, also understanding that we must chart a course for a two-state solution. And in that solution, there must be security for the Israeli people and Israel and an equal measure for the Palestinians. But the one thing I will assure you always, I will always give Israel the ability to defend itself, in particular as it relates to Iran and any threat that Iran and its proxies pose to Israel. But we must have a two-state solution where we can rebuild Gaza, where the Palestinians have security, self-determination, and the dignity they
This is the best worded answer she's given
President
about it.
Trump, how would you negotiate with Netanyahu and also Hamas in order to get the hostages out and prevent the killing of more innocent civilians in Gaza?
If I were
We love you,
president,
Melanie. Thank
it would
you.
have never started. If I were president, Russia would have never, ever, I know Putin very well, he would have never, and there was no threat of it either, by the way, for 4 years, have gone into Ukraine and killed millions of people when you ended up, far worse than people understand what's going on over there. But when she mentions about Israel, all of a sudden, she hates Israel. She wouldn't even
Thanks,
meet
Melanie.
Netanyahu when he went to Congress to make a very important speech. She refused to be there because she was at a sorority party of hers. She wanted to go to the sorority party. She hates Israel. if she's president, I believe that Israel will not exist within 2 years from now. And I've been pretty good at predictions, and I hope I'm wrong about that one. She hates Israel. At the same time, in her own way, she hates the Arab population because the whole place is going to get blown up. Arabs, Jewish people, Israel will be gone. It would have never happened. Iran was broke under Donald Trump. Now Iran has $300 billion because they took off all the sanctions that I had. Iran had no money for Hamas or Hezbollah or any of the 28 different spheres of terror. And they are spheres of terror, horrible terror. They had no money. It was a big story, and you know it. You covered it very well, actually. They had no money for terror. They were broke. Now they're a rich nation. And now what they're doing is they're spreading that money around. Look at what's happening with the Houthis and Yemen. Look at what's going on in the Middle East. This would have never happened. I will get that settled and fast, and I'll get the war with Ukraine and Russia ended. If I'm president-elect, I'll get it done before even becoming president.
Vice President Harris, he says you hate Israel.
That's absolutely not true. I have my entire career and life supported Israel and the Israeli people. He knows that. He's trying to, again, divide and distract from the reality, which is it is very well known that Donald Trump is weak and wrong on national security and foreign policy. It is well known that he admires dictators, wants to be a dictator on day one, according to himself. It is well known that he said of Putin that he can do whatever the hell he wants and go into Ukraine. It is well known that he said when Russia went into Ukraine, it was brilliant. It is well known he exchanged love letters with Kim Jong-un. And it is absolutely well known that these dictators and autocrats are rooting for you to be president again because they're so clear they can manipulate you with flattery and favors. And that is why so many military leaders who you have worked with have told me you are a disgrace. That is why we understand that we have to have a president who is not consistently weak and wrong on national security, including the importance of upholding and respecting in highest regard our military.
Vice President Harris, thank you.
And she's the one that caused it. That's weak on national security by allowing every nation last month for the year, 168 different countries sending people into our country. Their crime rates are way down. Putin endorsed her last week, said, I hope she wins. And I think he meant it because what he's gotten away with is absolutely incredible. It wouldn't have happened with me. The leaders of other countries think that they're weak and incompetent, and they are. They're grossly incompetent. And I just ask one question. Why does Biden go in and kill the Keystone Pipeline and approve the...
You could do better than that. At least $3, bitch.
Hey, $2 pretty good.
You can do better.
In this economy, it's pretty good.
Because they're weak and they're ineffective. And Biden, by the way, gets paid a lot of money.
Thank you. We have a lot of issues to get to.
We'll be right back with much more of this historic ABC News presidential debate.
So the mods are in the tank, no question about it for Harris. They didn't correct her one time on anything, not one thing. She can just lie
Why is it
about
always like
Charlottesville.
that?
She can say that police died on January 6th. No problems.
I'm gonna turn down the volume. Let's get our Can we hear Joe? Is there any way? Maybe
Can you
if we
guys hear
unplug
me?
I'm trying to. Yeah, we unplug the Blue Yeti.
No. This one so that
Oh,
it
yeah,
comes
do
out
that.
of the speakers.
Joe, talk.
Hey.
No.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, it's the Blue Yeti.
Go to
So here,
settings.
I'm gonna do
But that's
that.
Guys, tell them what I'm telling them. Go to settings and then go to audio and then check where your sound is coming in through. We got to have you guys repeat what I'm saying. So then, I mean, I can actually just text them too, but yeah, now they muted themselves. I could probably just type in the group and let them know what I'm saying, but say Joe's telling you guys to go to settings, and then
Can you
it does feel like that.
can you hear us now?
We always heard you guys until
Okay.
you muted yourself. Can you hear me?
I hear you.
See, it's because
Oh,
he's
cool.
a dancer. He doesn't know shit.
No, I'm not dancing. No, don't say that. Joe, what's the cigar? What's the cigar?
It's an AVO. I went to
Oh.
a shop down here, and then they gave me a bunch of different recommendations, and it's just been a little thing, you know. I'll bring some over for you guys for the election live stream that we're gonna be doing, and hopefully by then we'll have all these technical difficulties figured out.
Wait, what other difficulties do we have?
We nailed it. I thought this was perfect.
Is there another thing that we can fix? What's going on?
I thought like this is like literally perfect.
I went cheap on the Wi-Fi because
Like
I don't want.
I thought this is like Simone Biles at the Olympics, and we just got 10s all around.
I think if we could somehow stream it, I know there's other guys doing it right now, but they're doing it like on Rumble and X and stuff.
Well, as you know, people like are able to do a lot of things where they can even show other people's videos, but we get DMCA notices. So I just wanted to make sure that we're Gucci because hella people, the last debate, we're getting takedown notices. So better
really?
say sorry. Yeah, I don't want to get a strike because of this, right?
Well, maybe that's why they're doing it on X and Rumble and all that. And they're not
I think
doing
that
it
is
on
exactly
YouTube.
why. I think that's exactly why. Because Elon said that he would protect people, and I know that fucking enrages some people. It's like, who fucking you're sticking up for Elon, sucking his dick. I just think it's cool that he's saying like, hey, if you want to host it on X, we'll protect you legally.
Maybe what we can do, I mean, we'll figure it out for next time. But as of now, this is cool. Like, I get to listen to what you guys are listening to. I have one going out too, but it's a few seconds before you guys.
Okay.
Man, the fucking cops are out today, man.
Yeah, they're
everyone thought that it was Anthony's cheap neighborhood where the cops kept going off, but
I kind of am into Kurt's feeling on this. A lot of people talk over the debate, but we let you hear it. I kind of find that to be the case when I try to watch other people's content. Like I wish that people would just let people talk and then tell us what's up. I know I probably broke that rule a couple times because I just get fucking enraged. Because like, look, all you have to do, I think Kamala is beating Trump in this debate, but she doesn't have to lie about him. She's beating him by not lying about him. So the lying part, you don't have to do that. She would look so much better if she didn't do that.
Well, she just knows that he's going to fall into the trap.
I know,
and he's going to just go back
and
into
he
it.
does. He does. So yeah, it's wild.
She's literally just keeping the ball in her court
Yep.
because she just knows his play style, and it's like it's working regardless of truth.
Yeah,
I still have no actual
Mr.
idea
Game,
what her policy.
dude, Mr. Game watches nailing it here, right? Trump doesn't shut up. Kamala is the cringiest for her statements ever, and Trump just sounds like he's ranting instead of saying like, "Hey, like this is what I want to do for the American people who are suffering." Everyone watching this right now at home, right? Like the Reagan style, the Obama style, right, where they look in the camera and they say, you know, you guys are hurting out there. I know you are, right? All Obama
breaking news, guys. A gray ladybug flew into my coffee.
That's
That
good
thing's
luck, dude.
gray.
Okay, so
That's
look,
good luck.
like what Yash just said, I think she's not lying about anything. To be completely honest, I don't think she's really lying about anything either. I think that she's being really strategic and smart.
No, she lied about Charlottesville completely.
But I think she's bringing things up.
But that's a lie. Saying that he said there are good people on both sides when he said I'm not talking about the white supremacists and nationalists who should be condemned totally. Go look up the quote, Yash. It's even on motherfucking it's even on Snopes. It's everywhere, dude. Everyone knows that. So it's just like you don't have to do that. I'm not saying, by the way, I'm not saying Trump's not lying. I'm saying like some things are so obvious.
She's just doing better.
Yeah, she is winning.
People being killed.
We're going back into the debate right now. Everybody,
it's so much worse than the numbers that you're getting, which are fake numbers. Look, we're in for 250 billion or more because they don't ask Europe.
Valspar says she got an alligator neck. It's
Beneficiary
fucking
to
funny.
getting this thing done than we are. They're in for $150 billion less because Biden and you don't have the courage to ask Europe. Like I
Hey,
did with
FBI says the crime stats are going down, pal. All right, you need to check yourself before you wreck yourself, my guy.
You pay up or we're not going to protect you anymore.
You know
So
exactly,
that's
right?
One of the reasons they don't like me as much as they like weak people. But you take a look at what's happening. we're in for 250 to 275 billion.
I completely agree,
We're in
Ash.
for
You're dead on the money on that.
150.
I agree.
They should be forced
But
to
just
equalize.
fucking talk
With
about
that
it.
being said,
They
I
won't.
want to get the war settled.
Everything's
I
an
know
indirect
Zelensky-
fucking
Neither of them
forward.
want to because Trump ran at the deficit and Kamala didn't do anything about it once it got run up. They actually added to it too.
They added to it via war.
Trump did the biggest expansion of the deficit anybody did, period. That's no question about it.
That is a war that's dying to be settled. I will get it settled before I even become president. If I win, when I'm president-elect, and what I'll do is I'll speak to one, I'll speak to the other, I'll get them together. That war
It's probably because we're at
never
Anthony's house.
happened. And in fact, when I saw Putin after I left, unfortunately,
That's a
left
compliment
because
if you don't
our
get it.
country has gone to hell. But after I left, when I saw him building up soldiers, he did it after I left. I said, oh, he must be negotiating. It must be a good, strong point of negotiation. Well, it wasn't, because Biden had no idea how to talk to him. He had no idea how to stop it. And now you have millions of people dead, and it's only getting worse, and it could lead to World War III. Don't kid yourself, David. We're playing with World War III, and we have a.
I also feel like you
president
could
that we
just
don't even know
point that
who's-
shit
Bro,
out,
what,
too. It's like
we
you-
talk about how Bush is a war criminal every single day on JK News. Every single day, baby. I'm with you, bud.
Like, if he just points out that she's in office and she could just,
I know. Why would he do that?
Your time is
I
up.
feel like that's half of the battle.
It is.
Everything
She's
you
in office
say
right
can
now.
Sound
It's-
good,
I-
but you're in office.
It's right there.
Except for the go back, wake up, sleepy Joe type shit. That was funny as fuck.
Is World War III true? I don't know. I don't know what that's about. Everyone says World War III is coming every day, every single day, every week, my whole life. No, I don't think that.
Ukraine in this moment, but also as commander in chief, if elected, how would you deal with Vladimir Putin, and would it be any different from what we're seeing from President Biden?
Well, first of all, it's important to remind the former president, you're not running against Joe Biden, you're running against me. I believe.
Is that a
the
good
reason
line?
that Donald Trump says that this war would be over within 24 hours is because he would just give it up. And that's not who we are as Americans. Let's understand what happened here.
Fuck yeah, on
Actually,
Anthony Day tomorrow. Should we do another
Zelensky,
live stream where we just do a
a few
special
days
on 9/11?
before Russia
Just like every
invaded,
topic
tried
possible.
through force to
Oh my
change
God.
territorial boundaries, to defy one of the most important.
Is that an
international rules
unfundraiser?
of
I think we'd be
norms,
doing
which is
the world's first
importance of sovereignty
unfundraiser.
Unless we start selling the shirts tomorrow.
Not bad.
When I met with
Not
President
bad.
Zelensky, I shared with him American intelligence about how he could defend himself. Days later, I went to NATO's eastern flank, to Poland and Romania. And through the work that I and others did, we brought 50 countries together to support Ukraine in its righteous defense. And because of our support, because of the air defense, the ammunition, the artillery, the javelins, the Abrams tanks that we have provided, Ukraine stands as an independent and free country. If Donald Trump were president, Putin would be sitting in Kyiv right now. And understand what that would mean, because Putin's agenda is not just about Ukraine. Understand why the European allies and our NATO allies are so thankful that you are no longer president, and that we understand.
Bro,
the
DM the
importance of
JK
greatest military
Instagram
alliance
account,
the world
please.
has
He already did.
known,
He told
NATO.
Brian, let's do it.
Let's do it, bro. That'd be sick.
Just another space to waste fucking tons of money. And nobody even sees where we're at.
Otherwise, Putin would be sitting in Kyiv with his eyes on the rest of Europe, starting with Poland. And why don't you tell the
Bro,
800,000
Anthony lives on a hill,
Americans
dude. That's
right
why.
here in Pennsylvania,
Well, what's
how
happening?
quickly
Cheap
you
on the house,
gave
not
up
cheap on the landscape.
for the sake of favor.
They're wondering why
and
it's
what
so
you
bright
think
out.
is a
It's not-
friendship
they're not
with
mutually
what is
exclusive
known to
concepts.
be
No,
a
they're
dictator
mutually.
who would eat you for lunch.
You saved one to
Vice
spread on the
President
other,
Harris, thank you. We've heard from both of you on Ukraine tonight, Afghanistan.
You got
coming up in
pizza.
the last hour.
right?
I wanted her to respond.
Pizza
to
on
what you
paper
said
plates.
earlier.
The funny thing is, I think
Please,
it's
I'll
just
give you a minute.
bouncing the light.
Yeah,
He would
it
be
does.
sitting in Moscow, and he wouldn't have lost 300,000 men and women, but he would have been sitting in Moscow, quiet place. He would have been sitting in Moscow, much happier than he is right now. But eventually, he's got a thing that other people don't have. He's got nuclear weapons. They don't ever talk about that. He's got nuclear weapons. Nobody ever
That
thinks
is better.
about that. And eventually, maybe he'll use them, and maybe he hasn't been that threatening, but he does
Still
have
right
that.
outside for us.
Something we don't even like to talk about. Nobody likes to talk about it. But just so you understand, they sent her to negotiate peace before this war started. 3 days later, he went in and he started the war. Because
Such a
everything
benign
they
comment.
I like
I
that
love
one.
it.
I like that one.
It's so
They said the
stupid.
That
wrong
one's that look
things.
good.
That war should have never started. She was the emissary. They sent her in to negotiate with Zelensky and Putin.
Is that true?
And she did.
I
And
don't
the
know.
war started 3 days later.
I have absolutely
And
no
that's the kind of talent we have with her. She's worse than Biden. In my opinion, I think he's the worst president in the history of our country. She goes down as the worst vice president
That's
in the history of
fucking
our country.
tough.
But let me tell you
Refill my
something.
glass.
Mhm.
She is a horrible negotiator. They sent her in to negotiate. As soon as they left, Putin did the invasion.
President Trump, thank you. You did bring up something. You said she went to negotiate with Vladimir Putin. Vice President Harris, have you ever met Vladimir Putin? Can you clarify tonight?
Yet again, I said at the beginning of this debate, you're gonna hear a bunch of lies coming.
Every time it's for
And
her.
that is another one. When I went
It's
to
so funny.
meet with President Zelensky, I now met with him over 5 times. The reality is, it has been about standing as America always should, as a leader, upholding international rules and norms.
I would say Nikki and Nina get along very well,
Who
yes.
shows strength, understanding that
As
the
well as
alliances
us?
we
Nah,
have
dude.
As well,
I fucking hate each
I
other.
mean, we hate me and Anthony are at war at all
Look out
times.
for our friends and not favor our enemies because you adore strongmen instead of caring about democracy. And that is very much what is
This
at
guy-
stake
Morph?
here.
This guy brings us together a
President
little
Yeah, he
bit.
does.
Steve comes and feeds my cats when I'm gone.
But only because I
Selling
despise
cars.
him, so I want to influence his cats to love me instead of him. Like Hook. I'm trying to get his kids to love me.
This is the focus of the debate. I'm glad Joe's gone. Joe's
Yeah,
like, what the
Joe's
fuck?
like, shut the fuck up. I'm trying to listen to Kamala. I'm trying to listen to Kalama.
You talked about Ukraine and Vladimir Putin. I do want to talk about Afghanistan. It came up in the first hour of this debate. I wanted to move on to Afghanistan.
What's up, Apple Pie Club? I remember
The
you.
most amazing thing I've ever seen. He got these countries, the 28 countries at the time, to pay up. He said, I've never seen, he's the head of NATO. He said, I've never seen, for years, we were paying almost all of NATO. We were being ripped off by European nations, both on trade and on NATO. I got them to pay up by saying one of the statements you made before, if you don't pay, we're not going to protect you. Otherwise, we would have never gotten it. He said it was one of the most incredible jobs that he's ever seen done.
Thank you. I want to turn to Afghanistan. It came up in the first hour of the debate, and we witnessed a poignant moment today on Capitol Hill, honoring the soldiers who died in the chaotic withdrawal from Afghanistan. I do want to ask the Vice President, do you believe you bear any responsibility in the way that withdrawal played out?
Well, I will tell you, I agreed with President Biden's decision to pull out of Afghanistan. 4 presidents said they would, and Joe Biden did. And as a result, America's taxpayers are not paying the $300 million a day we were paying for that endless war. And as of today, there is not one member of the United States military who is in active duty in a combat zone in any war zone around the world, the first time this century. But let's understand how we got to where we are. Donald Trump, when he was president, negotiated one of the weakest deals you can imagine. He calls himself a deal maker. Even his national security advisor said it was a weak, terrible deal. And here's how it went down. He bypassed the Afghan government. He negotiated directly with a terrorist organization called the Taliban. The negotiation involved the Taliban getting 5,000 Taliban terrorists released. And get this. And the president at the time invited the Taliban to Camp David, a place of storied significance for us as Americans, a place where we honor the importance of American diplomacy, where we invite and receive respected world leaders. And this former president, as president, invited them
Ideal. Boom, exactly.
Camp David because he does not again appreciate the role and responsibility of the President of the United States to be commander-in-chief with a level of respect. And this gets back to the point of how he has consistently disparaged and demeaned members of our military, fallen soldiers, and the work that we must do to uphold the strength and the respect of the United States of America around the world.
Vice President Harris,
How much to Iran, bro?
President Trump, your response to her saying that you began the negotiations
Yeah, thank
with
you.
the Taliban.
So if you take a look at that period of time, the Taliban was killing our soldiers, a lot of them,
Amen,
with
bro.
snipers. And I got involved with the Taliban because the Taliban was doing the killing. That's the fighting force within Afghanistan. They don't bother doing that because, they deal with the wrong people all the time. But I got involved. And Abdul is the head of the Taliban. He is still the head of the Taliban. And I told Abdul, don't do it
America looked like a
anymore. You
joke
do it
since
anymore, you're gonna have
2004, bro.
problems. And he said, why don't you send me a picture of my house? I said, you're going to have to figure that out, Abdul. And for 18 months, we had nobody killed. We did have an agreement negotiated by Mike Pompeo. It was a very good agreement. The reason it was good, it was we were getting out. We would have been out faster than that, but we wouldn't have lost the soldiers. We wouldn't have left many Americans behind. And we wouldn't have left $85 billion worth of brand new, beautiful military equipment behind. And just to finish, they blew it. The agreement said you have to do this, and they didn't.
The thumbnail,
They
if
Meta.
you can't see
The
it,
Meta.
agreement
is
was
Joe's not
terminated
even
by
in it.
us Because
Really funny.
they didn't do what they were supposed to do.
I want to move on.
And these
But
people
there,
did the
Joe's
worst
just missing
withdrawal.
from our
And
thumbnail on
in my
YouTube.
opinion, the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country.
It would have been way better if he was shirtless with a cigar.
Because they saw how incompetent she and her boss are.
President Trump, thank you. I want to move on now to race and politics in this country. Mr. President, you recently said of Vice President Harris, quote, I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. I want to ask a bigger picture question here tonight. Why do you believe it's appropriate to weigh in on the racial identity of your opponent?
I don't, and I don't care. I don't care what she is. I don't care. You make a big deal out of something. I couldn't care less. Whatever she wants to be is okay with me.
So
I don't know. I mean, all I can say is I read where she was not black, that she put out, and I'll say that. And then I read that she was black, and that's okay. Either one was okay with me. That's up to her. That's up to her.
Vice President Harris, your thoughts on this?
That was the best version of an answer
I
he
think
could give.
it's-
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I think it's a tragedy that we have someone who wants to be president who has consistently, over the course of his career, attempted to use race to divide the American people. I do believe that the vast majority of us know that we have so much more in common than what separates us, and we don't want this kind of approach that is just constantly trying to divide us, and especially by race. And let's remember how Donald Trump started. He was he owned buildings, and he was investigated because he refused to rent property to black families. Let's remember, this is the same individual who took out a full-page ad in the New York Times calling for the execution of 5 young Black and Latino boys who were innocent, the Central Park 5. Took out a full-page ad calling for their execution. This is the same individual who spread birther lies about the first Black president of the United States. And I think the American people want better than that, want better than this. Want someone who understands, as I do, I travel our country. We see in each other a friend. We see in each other a neighbor. We don't want a leader who is constantly trying to have Americans point their fingers at each other. I meet with people all the time who tell me, can we please just have discourse about how we're going to invest in the aspirations and the ambitions and the dreams?
Yeah,
of the
if
American
Tulsi did a good job
knowing
training
that regardless
Trump on
of
this,
people's
that's
color
exactly what you
or
bring
the
up. But
language their grandmother
I doubt
speaks, we all have the same dreams.
He'll probably
and
talk about his crowd
aspirations, and
sizes.
want a president who invests in those, not in hate and division.
Vice President Harris, thank you. Lindsay?
President Trump, this is now your 3rd time.
This is the most divisive presidency in the history of our country. There's never been anything like it. They're destroying our country, and they come up with things like what she just said. Going back many, many years, when a lot of people, including Mayor Bloomberg, agreed with me on the Central Park 5, they admitted, they said, they pled guilty. And I said, well, if they pled guilty, they badly hurt a person, killed a person ultimately. And if they pled guilty, then they pled, we're not guilty. But this is a person that has to stretch back years, 40, 50 years ago, because there's nothing now. I built one of the greatest economies in the history of the world, and I'm going to build it again. It's going to be bigger, better, and stronger. But they're destroying our economy. They have no idea what a good economy is. Their oil policies, every single policy. And remember this, she is Biden. She's trying to get away from Biden. I don't know the gentleman, she says. She is Biden. The worst inflation we've ever had, a horrible economy because inflation has made it so bad, and she can't get away with that.
Briefly. Clearly, I am not Joe Biden, and I am certainly not Donald Trump. And what I do offer is a new generation of leadership for our country. One who believes in what is possible, one who brings a sense of optimism about what we can do instead of always disparaging the American people. I believe in what we can do.
Oh my God, move on to the next topic.
I know. It's all so corny.
Why I have a plan. Let's talk about our plans and let's compare the plans. I have a plan to give startup businesses $50,000 tax deduction.
Line of the night right here.
Pursue
Valspar's.
their ambitions, their innovation, their ideas, their hard work. I have a plan, $6,000 for
That's a good line.
families for the first year of your child's life to help you in that most critical stage of your child's development. I have
Yeah.
a plan.
And I'm telling you right now,
All Trump has to do is hit her on that, but he won't.
yeah, he won't. Hey, if she wins, me and you are starting a small business. We're grabbing $50,000.
I can't wait. Wait, why do we get 50? Oh, because she just said that.
Yes, she just
I'm
said
in.
that.
I'm in.
I'm just saying.
That's the kind of conversation, I believe, David, that people really want tonight, as opposed to a conversation that is constantly about belittling and name calling. Let's turn the page
Vice President
and move
Harris,
forward.
thank you. Let's turn to
You just said he endorses white supremacists.
Let's turn to policy.
To defund the police. She has a plan to confiscate everybody's gun.
President Trump,
She has
you
a
have
plan
two
to not allow
deliberations.
fracking in Pennsylvania or anywhere else.
Okay.
That's what her plan is until just recently.
I think
Lindsay, go ahead.
President Trump has
No,
said
I'm
something
sorry.
twice that I need to
No,
respond to.
I'm sorry, we're gonna move on, Vice
One
President
time
Harris.
to what you
President
said.
Trump, this is now your third time running for president. You have long
Nice.
vowed to repeal and replace the Affordable
God, the
Care
monitors
Act,
are so
also known
insufferable.
as Obamacare. You have failed to accomplish that. You now say you're.
No,
You
some
failed.
guy now. We're not going to become friends. We're going to become business partners. They're very, very
Yeah,
different.
listen.
As a matter of fact, if you don't do business with friends, you're more likely to succeed.
We
so
don't
they
do
say.
business with friends. You don't shit where you eat.
That's why we're doing business together.
Mortal enemies do business together sometimes.
Yeah.
Always was. It's not.
It's a
very
big brain. You have to think galaxy
And
brain.
what I said, that if we come up with something, and we are working on things, we're gonna do it and we're gonna replace it. But remember this, I inherited Obamacare because Democrats wouldn't change it. They wouldn't vote for it. They were unanimous. They wouldn't vote to change it. If they would have done that, we would have had a much better plan than Obamacare. But the Democrats came up, they wouldn't vote for it. I had a choice to make when I was president. Do I save it and make it as good as it can be, never gonna be great, or do I let it rot? And I felt I had an obligation, even though politically it would have been good to just let it rot and let it go away. I decided, and I told my people, the top people, and they're very good people. I have a lot of good people in that administration. We read about the bad ones. We had some real bad ones too, and so do they. They have really bad ones. The difference is they don't get rid of them. But let me just think. I had a choice to make. Do I save it and make it as good as it can be, or do I let it rot? And I saved it. I did the right thing. But it's still never going to be great, and it's too expensive for people. And what we will do is we're looking at different plans. If we can come up with a plan that's going to cost our people, our population, less money and be better healthcare than Obamacare, then I would absolutely do it. But until then, I'd run it as good as it can be run.
So just a yes or no, you still do not have a plan?
I have concepts of a plan. I'm not president right now. But if we come up with something, I would only change it if we come up with something that's better and less expensive. And there are concepts and options we have to do that. and you'll be hearing about it in the not too distant future.
Let's fucking go, Kuza. Kuza won 1,300 craps, dude.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah, that's our shit.
That is our shit.
Although we don't play together, we play at separate tables and we stare at each other like enemies.
Yeah, but should we go tonight?
Private insurance option. What is your plan today?
Well, first of all, I absolutely support, and over the last 4 years as vice president, private healthcare options. But what we need to do is maintain and grow the Affordable Care Act. I'll get to that, Lindsay. I just need to respond to a previous point that the former president has made. I've made very clear my position on fracking, and then this business about taking everyone's guns away. Tim Walz and I are both gun owners. We're not taking anybody's guns away, so stop with the continuous lying about this stuff. As it relates to the Affordable Care Act, understand, just look at the history to know where people stand. When Donald Trump was president, 60 times he tried to get rid of the Affordable Care Act. 60 times. I was a senator at the time. When I will never forget the early morning hours when it was up for a vote in the United States Senate, and the late, great John McCain, who you have disparaged as being, you don't like him, you said at the time, because he got caught. He was an American hero. The late, great John McCain, I will never forget that night, walked onto the Senate floor and said, no, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't.
Yeah, Trump just has to say that, but he won't.
You have no plan.
He got too cocky for this debate.
Has done is eliminate the ability of insurance companies to deny people with pre-existing conditions. I don't have to tell people watching tonight, you remember what that was like? Remember when an insurance company could deny if a child had asthma, if someone was a breast cancer survivor, if a grandparent had diabetes? And thankfully, as I've been vice president and we over the last 4 years have strengthened the Affordable Care Act, we have allowed for the first time Medicare to negotiate drug prices on behalf of you, the American people. Donald Trump said he was going to allow Medicare.
Kamala just defended guns, dude. What are you talking about? Yes. I think you're like wearing your party jersey or some shit. No, better background checks. Dude, there's so many background checks. He stole a gun from his fucking dad, bro.
We will do that for all people, understanding that the value.
It's not all. This is a fucking nonsense talking point. Everyone says all the time, better background checks. Can't even buy fucking ammo. Can't even buy fucking ammo without having to go through ATF. Have you ever bought a gun before? You should talk to gun owners, actually. You really should.
I want to move to an issue that's important for a
You
lot.
made a mistake. Number one, John McCain fought Obamacare for 10 years. But it wasn't only him. It were all of the Democrats that kept it going. And you know what? We can do much better than Obamacare, much less money. But she won't improve private insurance for people, private medical insurance. That's another thing she doesn't want to do. People are paying privately for insurance that have worked hard and made money, and they want to have private. She wants everybody to be on government insurance where you wait 6 months for an operation that you need.
Sorry about that, comfortably numb. That sucks, dude.
Another issue that we'd like to get to that's important for a number of Americans, in particular.
Bro, no shit. That's the problem, right? There's 300 goddamn million guns in America. There's more guns in America than people.
Vice President Harris, you call
Don't stop saying background checks like it's going to do something.
The question to you both tonight is
We have background checks.
to fight climate change, and Vice President Harris, will start with you. 1 minute for you each.
Well, the former president had said that climate change is a hoax. And what we know is that it is very real. You ask anyone who lives in a state who has experienced these extreme weather occurrences, who now is either being denied home insurance.
Yeah, in America, it took me a month to get a shotgun, dude. A month.
The victim of what that means in terms of losing their home.
Oh, you're talking about wait times for healthcare. I'm talking about guns,
We can
dude.
actually deal with this issue. The young people of America care deeply about this issue. And I am proud that as vice president over the last 4 years, we have invested $1 trillion in a clean energy economy, while we have also increased domestic gas production to historic levels. We have created over 800,000 new manufacturing jobs.
Fucking
While I have been
exactly,
vice
JC,
president,
exactly.
We have
Exactly.
invested in clean energy to the point that we are opening up factories around the world. Donald Trump said he was going to create manufacturing jobs. He lost manufacturing jobs. And I'm also proud to
It
have the
depends on the
endorsement
state.
of the United Auto Workers and Sean Fain, who also know that part of building a clean energy economy includes investing in American-made products, American automobiles. It includes growing what we can do around American manufacturing and opening up auto plants, not closing them like happened under Donald Trump.
Vice President Harris, thank you.
That didn't happen under Donald Trump. Let me just tell you, they lost 10,000 manufacturing jobs this last month. They're all leaving. They're building big auto plants in Mexico, in many cases owned by China. They're building these massive plants, and they think they're going to sell their cars into the United States because of these people. What they have given to China is unbelievable. But we're not going to let that. We'll put tariffs on those cars so they can't come into our country, because they will kill the United Auto Workers and any auto worker, whether it's in Detroit or South Carolina or any other place. What they've done to business and manufacturing in this country is horrible. We have nothing because they refuse. Biden doesn't go after people because supposedly China paid him millions of dollars. He's afraid to do it. Between him and his son, they get all this money from Ukraine. They get all this money from all of these different countries.
Whoa, that's a deep cut, Anson. About toys and joys. That's crazy.
Why is he?
You know what's up? You from Hawaii?
$$1 million from the mayor of Moscow's wife. Why did she pay him $3.5 million? This is a crooked administration, and they're selling our country down the tubes.
President Trump, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, Isaac, I am on China's payroll. That's literally what it means. When
Literally,
China,
yeah.
They pay me.
Yep.
Therefore, I'm extremely biased and will say fuck all to make sure I'm good. That's what we're witnessing in the debate. That's the whole point. I believe in it.
Amen. Do I think Biden pardons Hunter? I mean, I think if he's a good dad, I would do that. I would do that shit in a second. How about that? In a second. I think they got Hunter on a fucking gun charge that is totally bullshit. I've talked about this before many times. Totally bullshit. The gun charge they got Hunter on. It's the same political scam they're running on Trump in New York City with the 32 felony counts for bookkeeping. It's just both sides bullshit. Total bullshit. There's a both sides for you.
How are we feeling about this debate right now? This second.
I think the second half
right
Trump did better, but ultimately he came out so weak and ineffectual that I think she'll just probably win this debate because of that. I really do. Hey, Vorpal, happy to see you guys are still creating. Love the podcast, Steve. Thank you so much. Joe, you're POG. And other guy, I forgot your name. Love you. Hell yeah. And I love that comment. This is a great comment. We should print this and put it in the office.
Thank you, Vorpal. I'm other guy. What does POG mean?
You're PO. Joe, you're PO.
Is it commercial break right now?
Yeah.
Break right now, yeah.
Joe, what's POG? You're POG?
If he's talking about POG, Passion Orange Guava, I don't know.
Nah, you're person of Guller.
Oh, person of Guller. What the fuck? That's me just accepting what you said. Yikes.
Do it more often. Let's go to Red Rock.
All right.
Cheers.
All right. Cheers, bud. Okay, I love this. This guy's bringing his politics in. Dr. Smegma Jones says, Joe has openly talked about having smegma. I have a feeling Anthony does too, but Steve isn't part of the crew. Dude, keep your politics out of here, dude.
Their name is Dr. Smegma
Dr.
Jones.
Smegma Jones, dude. He's the one issue guy.
I'm one of the few circumcised guys in the crew, and the reason I know that is weird. The fact that I know that is weird.
Yeah, I think Kamala won the debate, and now I'm going to be a libtard. That's fine. I'm fine with it. It's just funny.
You know what is funny though is I think we're actually a very balanced channel because I did
You did a poll, right?
Yeah, I did a poll, and I can share that poll with you guys. But on Just Kidding News, if you check out the community tab, you can kind of see. And the people that watch JK, here, let me show you guys. How do I share the screen?
Say present. When you're in StreamYard, go down to present.
Okay.
Yeah, hit the plus, and then I'll add it.
Okay.
Oh,
You see that?
Yep. There it is.
I think we have a really
I'll make it real big. Yeah, there we go.
like balanced fan base because
Yeah.
you know, if we were as people claim that we're like fully right wing alt right
Of course.
boys, then everybody here would be dramatically Trump.
Right. Exactly.
And if we were libtards, then everybody here would be dramatically Kamala. But I think we have a really bad, like, look at that number. And a good amount of people voted. It's 7.4 thousand.
Yeah, look, I'll be, as I tell people all the time, I am more likely to vote for Trump because he is more for crypto. I tell people that all the damn time. So I have an incentive right now, right, to say, okay, well, I would like it if Trump won this debate or whatever. I don't think that's what's happening. Like, I'm just trying to be a straight shooter about it.
Hey, and again, just to be transparent, I've voted Democrat my whole life up until this point.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Yeah.
And I'm not to say that I like love Trump or so much of like the way that he approaches policy.
Yeah.
But like when you bring on, and again, this is all just hearsay until it happens. But if like Bobby Kennedy endorses you and goes over to his side and talks about like being appointed onto his administration in order to handle like the problem with like child obesity and all the health problems and shit like that, I'm like, I definitely stand behind that. It
was a great speech.
That was a fucking
great
speech.
I recommend everybody just watch the speech.
If he's capable of appointing Elon to be head of a commission of people in order to
clean up government waste
and efficiency and finances.
I love RFK too, Melanie. Love RFK.
I can get behind that. You know what I mean? Tulsi, who has been on our show, and again, we've gotten a chance to actually sit down. Steve called her a Russian asset. We've actually gotten a chance to sit down and talk face to face with somebody about a number of different things. And she, again, I don't know the deepest inner workings, but she came off as a fucking sick ass human being.
She's a G for sure.
You know what I mean?
Let's watch the closing statements, then we can do this.
So, like, those are things that I vibe.
And
here we go. Closing statements. And then feedback.
Understanding the aspirations, the dreams, the hopes, the ambition of the American people, which is why I intend to create an opportunity economy, investing in small businesses, in new families, in what we can do around protecting seniors, what we can do that is about giving hardworking folks a break and bringing down the cost of living. I believe in what we can do together that is about sustaining America's standing in the world and ensuring that we have the respect that we so rightly deserve, including respecting our military and ensuring we have the most lethal fighting force in the world. I will be a president that will protect our fundamental rights and freedoms, including the right of a woman to make decisions about her own body and not have her government tell her what to do. I'll tell you, I started my career as a prosecutor. I was a DA, I was an attorney general, a United States senator, and now vice president. I've only had one client, the people. And I'll tell you, as a prosecutor, I never asked a victim or a witness, are you a Republican or a Democrat? The only thing I ever asked them, are you okay? And that's the kind of president we need right now. Someone who cares about you and is not putting themselves first. I intend to be a president for all Americans and focus on what we can do over the next 10 and 20 years to build back up our country by investing right now in you, the American people.
Vice President Harris, thank you. President Trump?
So she just started by saying she's going to do this, she's going to do that, she's going to do all these wonderful things. Why hasn't she done it? She's been there for 3.5 years. They've had 3.5 years to fix the border.
Do it in the beginning.
3.5 years to create jobs and all the things we talked about. Why hasn't she done it? She should leave right now, go down to that beautiful White House, go to the Capitol, get everyone together and do the things you want to do, but you haven't done it and you won't do it because you believe in things that the American people don't believe in. You believe in things like we're not going to frack, we're not going to take fossil fuel, we're not going to do things that are going to make this country strong, whether you like it or not. Germany tried that, and within 1 year, they were back to building normal energy plants. We're not ready for it. We can't sacrifice our country for the sake of bad vision. But I just ask one simple question. Why didn't she do it? We're a failing nation. We're a nation that's in serious decline. We're being laughed at all over the world. All over the world, they're laughed. I know the leaders very well. They're coming to see me. They call me. We're laughed at all over the world. They don't understand what happened to us as a nation. We're not a leader. We don't have any idea what's going on. We have wars going on in the Middle East. We have wars going on.
We talked about.
They can see the
Russia and
screen.
Ukraine. We're going to end up in a third world war, and it'll be a war like no other because of nuclear weapons, the power of weaponry. I rebuilt our entire military. She gave a lot of it away to the Taliban. She gave it to Afghanistan. What these people have done to our country, and maybe toughest of all, is allowing millions of people to come into our country. Many of them are criminals, and they're destroying our country. The worst president, the worst vice president in the history of our country.
First time he showed up the whole debate.
And that is our ABC News presidential
Insane.
debate from here in Philadelphia at the National Constitution Center. I'm Lindsay Davis.
And I'm David Muir. Thank you for watching here in the
Fuck
US.
you, mods. You guys suck as usual. Always mods suck. Mods always suck. Talking about moderators of anything. All right, that's it.
We are here live on ABC with our post-debate comments. I'm Martha Raddatz. It was a lively debate.
Okay, mute this. Absolute shit. Nobody cares about Martha Raddatz, to say that. Thoughts, Anthony, dancer. I think people want to hear about the dancer's brain response.
Yeah, I was finishing up just kind of like different viewpoints in which I had, just to be transparent about like how I've voted my whole life to like where we're at with stuff like current issues now. I too, like RFK again, like I don't, or like Tulsi actually even more passionately. Yes. I don't want us to be in war. I don't want us to be sending our tax dollars over to fund a war that is very polarizing. It's not about right and wrong or what I believe I don't have thoughts on what should happen on the other side of the planet if the thoughts in my side over here are problems. And somebody had wrote in there too that they're more so voting liberal or for Kamala because of like abortion and like the pro-life, pro-choice debate.
Yeah.
Again, I'm going to be honest, like and you might see this in future videos that come out, I lean towards pro-choice. I know that's not,
I do too.
That's not exactly the like more,
I told Zuby that. Zuby was sitting next to me. Zuby was like, I am pro-life. And I was like, hey, dude, you guys lose me on that shit.
But that's the thing.
But we shook hands, and that's what I expect in America.
That's the problem with so many people that are so extreme about voting for somebody. Like, you don't get everything you want. You have to weigh everything in general, and there's space that you have to compromise. There's no way, even the things that they say they're going to promise, they're not going to do all of them. So you just have to have room for compromise.
Not Zuby. I was talking about Zuby.
Yeah,
he was the guy that we had on the show for half a day. He was great. Joe, I think Bart got him.
Yeah. But the point
I think what's misleading though about the topic on abortion is that they're painting Trump as if he's completely against it. His policy is no different from Clinton and Obama. Like, his stance on abortion isn't radical in the sense where like he's leaning the same way a Democrat was. Republicans are like mad at his stance on abortion.
Well, look, there are plenty of pro-life Republicans who are pissed as fuck right now about how this got kicked back to the states and how it shouldn't be. Like, it should be a national abortion referendum, which is what Kamala is talking about. And that, I think, is an insane case. And I don't think anyone will be for that. And if Trump was for that or anybody was for that, I think they would lose.
And I agree with what John B says. Like, if I think voting for Trump will stop war, it won't, because the military. I totally agree.
Well, we know that. Yeah, we saw that.
The difference is, again,
couldn't pull troops out of Somalia.
It's not about like this altruistic full 100% right, wrong, everything will happen. It's just more a matter of like the way things are going to be portrayed to the American people, the reason for it. You know what I mean? This is going to sound fucked up, but I would have rather a George Bush be like, we're going to do this so that we can get oil versus, and here comes the 9/11 shit because we're at the eve of it. We're going to go fucking kill our own people in order to prompt something. You know what I'm saying? Like, and again, hypothetical. I'm not saying I believe anything, but you know what I mean? The idea of like, if there is something that's beneficial for the American people, I love being a part of the greatest nation on earth. And that means we have to bully some motherfuckers. I'd rather be the bully nation than not, in a sense. I know
I think a lot of people who see that American flag, they see something that we don't see, right? Because we see that American flag and we think about how nice it was to be raised here and have barbecues. And I think a lot of those people see those flags on planes attached to what like literally blew up their fucking family in a village. And I can't, it's tough to just reconcile that and say,
and we as civilians can't stop that fully.
No way.
But there is,
but the military can't stop it either. That's what I'm saying. These vipers at the top, the Dick Cheneys, right? The Bushes, right? Even eventually Obama, right? The people who sell the wars, I think that they don't give a flying fuck, or Obama wouldn't have dropped so many bombs and ran out of bombs. Again, he's the scandal-free president. Everyone says he had a tan suit. That was a scandal. No, he spotted his political opponent, and he dropped so many fucking bombs they ran out of bombs. And they expand the wars from 3 to fucking 7. And all this stuff doesn't get talked about when it comes to Obama because he's just seen as the savior of everything and all this great stuff. And I wish the full context was just available for everybody.
I mean, it's true though. Kamala, I think, was a better debater tonight.
No question. No question. Exactly. Lindsey Graham. Exactly. These ghouls, these vipers, they don't care about anybody watching anything. They want more war, more profits to military-industrial complex, more, bottom up to the corporations, right? What we saw during COVID, they printed your fucking dollar and they sent it all to Wall Street, right? No, there's no hope coming for you. There's no help coming for you. But then they'll blame you. They'll say, well, you got a check during COVID, so you're responsible for what happened with Bitcoin, all that kind of shit that happened. Even though they actually did an audit of it, 0.02% of the money that went into COVID checks went to Bitcoin. But that's what they do. They blame poor people at all times. And I was saying this during COVID. I was like, what are they doing with COVID? They're blaming people eating bats at a night market. They're saying they're so stupid and they're so poor they're eating bats, and that's what's fucking everybody up and making this huge disease come out. We all know that they always will blame poor people for everything. That's what frustrates me. What do you think, Joe?
I think debate-wise, man, I was not expecting that. It was pretty bad. Like, it was not only boring. I was expecting more energy from Trump, but Kamala actually did better.
She did.
And I wasn't able to see the full thing because I was listening from, your guys's laptop.
From the Echo Palace?
Yeah, but like you said,
not a lot of furniture.
He was taking the bait. When she was going after his ego, he took it. It's like, man, he could have done so much better, focusing on the people, focusing on policy, focusing on future. And he just kept saying, like, my crowd's big. I got a big crowd. It's like, come on, man. Like, he could have done so many things, like how he's going to control government spending by having someone like Elon come in, and he's great at creating efficient systems. He's going to have RFK come in and really drain the swamp when it comes to these agencies that might be operating in a way where they're like taking over the country without votes, without without the system that we're supposed to have.
Yeah,
like there's bureaucrats that are not voted in that have so much power, right? And then corrupt power. And
this is why when people say that Kamala, they go, she's dumb. I go, well, I agree with you that it's dumb to say we're going to tax unrealized gains. I think that's dumb too. But what she just did tonight was really smart. She kept on basically baiting Trump into saying she would pancake her argument, right? So she goes, layer one of my argument is that Trump doesn't care about poor people or whatever. And then layer two is like, and that's why they don't show up at his rallies and they leave early. And that's the only thing he talks about for the next 3.5 minutes.
I don't know what happened. I don't know why he didn't bring the energy. I think he lost the fire ever since he almost got assassinated. Yeah. Even with the Biden debate, he was like, well, I guess he couldn't go hard on a grandpa because he would have looked bad. But I think the thing is, most people, they just don't watch this stuff. They don't care. Right? They already made their mind up before they went. The whole key of politics and debates and voting and getting all this stuff rallied up is they're trying to get their own side to go vote, because human beings are so lazy that everyone here, we're pretty much born into the political party. Whatever our parents is, our community is, our ethnic group is, we're born into it, right? It's really rare that there are moderates because people don't think for themselves.
Yeah.
Like we're moderate, right? But then we still get pushed into this corner of, oh no, you're a right winger or a left winger or whatever. But it's like, no, we can vote based on policy and individuals. I might like this candidate, I might not, right? And then we can vote based on that. And so like, that's the trouble here, is that like everyone's now looking at each party as like, we're the benevolent good guys. And then the other party's not even American. They're just like evil people that are trying to destroy this nation.
Or traitors, yeah.
Or traitors, yeah. And that's the weirdest thing. Because I think they're all sociopaths and they don't give a fuck about any of us, right?
Yep.
So the way I vote is like, I just gotta see which ones are probably gonna be the lesser of the two evils.
Yeah, I think Smegma Jones, Dr. Smegma Jones. Sorry, I meant to say doctorate first. Sorry, I apologize. I think you're onto something here. I think that, you know, Nick, as I was leaving, Nikki told me, does anybody watch this stuff because they want to have their mind changed? And that's kind of what I was asking Subin last time he was on the show. Because I was like, it's not like Kamala or Joe Biden at the time can reach you. And he's like, no, they can't. So I'm like, yeah. So it's really just about like watching an all-star game where your team is racking up points against the other team, and like you're just there to go, fuck yeah, we're the best in the East or the West, right? I do think there's a lot of that, but there is like that number in the middle, right? There was a report today, 14 points went to Trump in the independents recently. I don't know how that factors in after this. You know what I mean?
And even within our fan base, if you saw the poll, a third of them are undecided. That means we do have a lot of like minds attract, right? So a lot of our viewers are probably just like us. And they're like, yeah, you know, I voted for Obama, but this time I'm actually considering Trump. And a lot of my friends who've been traditionally Democrat for many, many years, they don't like this administration so much. They're willing to kind of vote for Trump. And I think it's because Trump is technically a 1999 Democrat. Like,
yeah, or
he is not Democrat, a conservative
96
at all.
Clinton, State of the Union Democrat. Yeah, talking about illegal aliens crossing the border. Remember that?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, I'm like, he's not a conservative, like in the traditional sense.
He's not a conservative in any way. That's why Dick Cheney hates him. The neocons hate him, right? Because of that. RFK could never get with a fucking neocon ever.
But I think that's kind of where we're at right now, is like, well, who do we actually have that we really, really like? Because my first pick, RFK, he's out the game, but then he's on Trump's camp. And I love Tulsi, and she's in Trump's camp, you know? And then so
I think Trump's biggest faux pas was selecting JD Vance. I think he should have picked, I know we're biased, obviously, but he should have picked Tulsi.
That would have been sick.
That would have been sick.
I think that would have
had he would have had a fucking firebrand against Kamala.
Hey, please gamer, thank you.
Please gamer, thank you so much, bro.
Wow.
Whoa.
Thanks, bro.
Whoa.
By the way, once again, thank you to Melanie Katari as well.
Who
donated $100 earlier.
Yeah. Everyone here is balling out of control.
No, seriously, appreciate all you guys. Even you, Megan Garibay.
Yeah.
We appreciate you. Seriously. Helps the channel a lot.
The thing that I'm kind of curious about, right, is like to how much people actually watch politics, and do they take it for face value? Because one thing, when I speak to people, right, I try to gauge where they're at, and if they know that there's another game being played, or they really just trust everything that's happening. And so some of my friends who are indoctrinated into our like belief system, they get scared when there's talks of like the true motive behind why people in power act the way that they do, and nothing that they say is actually true. And everyone knows politicians lie, but to what depth and for what reason, right? So like when we're watching this shit, I don't really know how many people are actually like looking at it and saying, oh yeah, this is true. What they're saying is true. Like, to me, I see it as a game. Like it's a chess game.
Yeah, it is.
It's completely all a lie.
Megan,
but how do they manipulate?
We appreciate you, Megan. We appreciate you. Please understand. We actually appreciate you. It's not about the money. Thank you so much.
Just put
No,
a
I'm with
dollar
you, brother.
each.
No, for real though. I don't think a lot of people see it that way though, honestly.
Right.
Because I think most people see this, you know, I've always talked about this, like the convention's job is to emotionally rile everybody up about the other candidate and to rile you up like passionately for the candidate so that you're pissed enough to go vote. And I think we're both, you and me, are pissed enough to go vote. I'm pissed enough to go vote because I'm tired of what they've been doing to crypto over the last 3 years.
Yeah.
So,
and for me, it's not about who's the better person, right? I just go, well, what are they talking about, and what's so previous to Trump, the only president that spoke about the military-industrial complex was Eisenhower.
Yeah, that's right. And we watched the military-industrial complex fuck with him because Rex goddamn Tillerson, who is a bitch of the military-industrial complex, go Google it, dude. Rex Tillerson, Trump's first Secretary of Defense. He is denouncing Trump now, and then Kamala Harris uses that as a talking point. And it's like, dude, you should not. First of all, you should never talk about Dick Cheney in a debate to Democrats. If Democrats are really what they used to be, but they're not anymore, dude. Democrats are corporatist fucking owned the same way Republicans have been always corporatist owned. So that's why it's a stunning thing. Oh, but Steve, why are you only talking about how the Democrats are corporatist owned? Because we all know the fucking Republicans are, dude. It's shocking to see that the Democrats are fucking owned by Northrop Grumman and Lockheed Martin in ways that I've never seen before.
Well, I think what's giving people hope is that now there's a conversation of that corruption. Now, whether
Tulsi's
these
calling
guys, Tulsi, Vivek, Trump, RFK, like they're the revolutionary, rebellious camp,
Dennis
right?
Kucinich.
Yeah, and then so previous to them, nobody was talking about it. And I think this is where it gets confusing because people see Democrats and Republicans. They don't see the Republican Party having infighting, as this is a different group within the Republican Party. The previous Republican Party were the Bush Republicans and neocons. And so like it's probably, if you don't really watch this stuff, you don't see that there is a shift happening, a power shift within that party, which is giving people the like people like me that's like I hated Republicans, I hated everything about them, and I'm actually considering voting Republican for the first time.
Yeah,
and it's only because
you've never voted Republican, right? Ever?
Huh?
That's what you're saying.
Last person I voted for was John Kerry. And then I find out John Kerry was a part of the same secret organization in the Skull and Bones group with George Bush. They're friends. They're all friends. They're more friends, and they play enemies than they are to the common.
Mitt Romney and Obama, dude.
They're all friends.
Yeah.
And then so once I like understood all this, I was like, oh, it's not about right or left. It's about this group of people who hook each other up. And they when they get on stage, they pretend that they're enemies. They're on the right side or the left side. They pull on our heartstrings. They make us vote a certain way. But that's what we call corporatists. Those are the guys that are out there, and they're sponsored by, right? They're not, and then they're out there and they're just doing the devil's work. They start wars, make hella money. They don't, they get sponsored by pharmaceuticals. They get hella money. They don't care about that. And so this is where, when I think about RFK, like he's talking about the pharmaceutical industry.
Yeah.
Tulsi, she's talking about military-industrial complex. Mm-hmm. No one on the left is talking about it. Well, previously, Tulsi and RFK was the left, but they couldn't get platformed. And this is why it's like, okay, well, the Democrats are the corporatists are still in control of the Democrats. And if we were able to have that conversation on the left too, what I would like to see is these two rebellious, revolutionary minds on both sides coming up and then changing the conversation completely instead of it just being on the Republican side right now. But
does that feel like a long ways away from here, considering? Like Kamala's Kamala's not talking about anything like that. Like she's not talking about the war.
She's bought for.
Right.
She's
not saying anything about like we've overexpanded ourselves. We need to focus on home. She's not saying anything like that.
She's not going to say that.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. So I think what Joe's saying is like a distant dream at this point because nobody's saying that on that side. So then you find yourself where I'm at, where I'm like, cool. The only person who's even talking about this in a negative way is Trump. who the fuck else, right? So there you go. And then he picks JD fucking Vance. I have no idea who that guy even is. Wish he just picked Tulsi. He could have used Tulsi as a huge weapon against Kamala. She destroyed Kamala in the debates.
Yeah.
Like, it just seems like
she would have been great. She would have.
Oh,
I actually would have voted for her first and foremost, because I think what's important to me is, like, not seeing people die for profit.
Legit same. It's so annoying. But that's kind of where I'm at, where I'm like, man, I feel disappointed by both sides, but ultimately Trump is still saying, like, I don't want to do all these war things. I would like to pull back. And then people are going, oh, but didn't you pull back from Afghanistan? It's like, dude, literally they did the Afghanistan move, right? Like, Trump approved it with, and by the way, Obama, he's the guy who was talking about we should talk to our enemies. And the Bush administration, the Dick Cheneys, the fucking neocons used to say, we shouldn't be talking to our enemies. That's what bad people do. Remember that?
Yep. Yeah,
and then
I remember
I got
that.
Kamala in this debate saying Trump wants to talk to our enemies. It's like, isn't that what a negotiation is, brother? Like, to me. But then again, Trump can't say any of that shit because he's talking about his fucking crowds the whole time. So then it's like, you know what I mean?
I know, he doesn't even answer in the best way possible. And so we also don't know, because when Trump, I mean, there were no new wars started when Trump came in, right? But he also didn't end any. And I don't know how much power that he actually has. How much change can he actually make? I mean,
he can't. He even said, I told my commanders to take troops out of Syria. They said no. They said no, we can't. That's crazy.
And so for 4 years, I think that's, a very small amount of time to actually accomplish much. I don't really know. I would like to think that we're on our path to a more transparent and honorable government, but, like, for all we know, these guys might just be like, this is the new popular thing, and we're gonna act like these revolutionaries that are gonna come drain the swamp, and then when they get in, they're not gonna do anything.
That's kind of it's kind of the black pilled opinion, right? That's what people say who have no hope about what's going to happen, right? That's what they say.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I don't disagree with you at all.
Yeah, but for me, it's the important part here is that the conversation is actually happening now. Like, it was never happening. I wouldn't ever in 5 years ago, I would have never thought that we would have these conversations openly on the stage, on TV.
Amen. Anthony, thoughts?
Nina's home. Nina, who are you going to vote for?
Nina, go on the record right now.
On the record, who are you going to vote for?
On the record right now, on camera.
I'm not registered to vote.
She's not registered to vote, so there it is.
Wow.
This is Nevada. It's a swing state. That's
escapism at its
bold
finest.
statement. Bold statement.
All right, swing state.
So I do want to address this one. It's like, hey, both sides are corrupt, but you can't sit here and convince me that the Republicans are the ones that are trying to bring down the big corporation and drive the cost of drugs and healthcare.
Wait, let me find that. Oh yeah, got it.
Yeah, I mean, big Republicans have always been big business. Right?
They don't give a fuck. Yeah, 100%. You're absolutely right.
But so are Democrats. Now, after Clinton, Democrats are big business. Republicans are big. I think the only difference is
the Democrats caught up.
Big union.
Yeah.
So Democrats are big union. They're also so. The thing here is, like, what's Trump trying to do with the pharmaceutical industry? He's trying to get people to or the companies to be transparent with the bills, right?
Yeah, with the prices, exactly right.
So they're not like, surprise, it's $5,000.
It's a recent thing.
Yeah. And so it really boils down to, like, individual items and figuring out what is important to you. Like, I think that's really what both sides are campaigning on. And, like, the Democrats, I think they're really pushing toward the whole abortion issue because their voter base, I think, they're going for females big time.
Yep.
I think that we're at the most what's the word, divided gender divided time ever politically.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's very clearly like males Trump, females, especially single females, Biden or Kamala. Married females though skew Trump now, but it's very close.
I found this thing right here too. It's I'll share it with you guys, but they're not so these kids are not even voting age yet. But there was a poll done and it shows that 12th grade boys
Oh shit.
are more conservative. And I wouldn't ever think that there'll be a time where young people would be conservative. Like almost everyone I grew up with growing up, we were all liberal growing up.
That's insane.
Right. And so why is that? I think that's the biggest question, is like, why the gender divide? And I think both sides are just.
And there we go. Both sides are just, and then we'll never know. You know, if you think about it, we'll never know.
Where's Joe? Is he gone?
He was both sidesing, so I kicked him out.
You just kicked him out because he was both
Yeah,
sides.
don't do both sidesing to me.
I guess
I'm not into that.
Don't do both sides.
Don't do
That's
both sides shit to
that's a
me.
big one.
Because I'll kick you out every fucking time. We saw what David Muir did about both sides. He didn't fucking correct the record.
Joe's back and he's probably not both
Okay, here
siding
he-
anymore.
Did you stop both sidesing? Okay.
You double newsing?
No, I clicked off the wrong thing. I think what was I saying? Yeah, both sides.
Yeah, both sides.
Both sides.
I told you.
I forgot, man. My ADD got
Well, no,
me.
you're talking about the both
The gender
sides
difference, yeah.
when it comes
Oh,
to the gender difference and when it comes to the youth.
Oh, okay. So
Your graph.
they're both focusing on such different things, because like back then they used to just attack the same policies and see which one was the different one. But they're just I think they're emphasizing so hard on different things because they're trying a different tactic on who's going to vote for those.
Yeah, and ultimately, what do you think is behind that? Why are the kids skewing Republican so hard or conservative?
That's the weirdest thing to me.
Is it
man.
alternate media to you?
I don't know.
If I had to excuse it, I would say alternate media, Joe Rogan. Even though Joe Rogan's not a leftist at all, but he like basically took down a lot of the pillars of all the leftist shit in the last like 3 years.
Yeah, maybe it could be all the YouTube content, and then like there's the Republican influencers. Because aside from like what Destiny, I don't really see that many liberal like leading thoughts.
What do you think about what Josu said? Nailed it.
Is anti-culture?
Yeah,
Sway?
I think there's something about that I've seen.
Yeah.
as well.
I hear your cat.
You know what's ironic? It's almost
Tiger
like
Lily.
it's almost like conservative always was anti-culture. It's just anti-culture has changed.
Yeah.
Because like even when we were young, somebody who was conservative in a sense, like when you were young, when you were a 12-year-old, 12th grader boy, right?
Yeah.
You're fucking pansy, like you know what I mean.
That was me.
You little pussy who
That was
only
me.
believes in certain XYZ types of things. You know what I mean?
Literally
Like that
me.
was like
Yep.
almost anti-12th grade culture in a sense.
Yep.
Now it could be. It's not so much about being conservative. It's more about like, I think there's like an end wokeness culture. I think there's like there's a resentment towards things being so extreme that like you can't say certain things or can't believe in certain things or have to be a certain way. I think that's, if anything, triggering for young people to like want to, and I know this is fucking deep concept shit.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like making people want to almost erratically go the other way.
Yeah.
Anything that's over polarizing, sometimes when somebody goes deep down your throat about it, even if it's right, it makes people want to just side with the other side if you didn't say it with the right tone. You know what I mean? Like it's just a whole different world we live in with such complex concepts, but everything has to be so fucking black and white.
Can be. I think what he's talking about is not that conservatives are growing. It's just that in the youth, they tend to sway more conservative. So that,
Which is weird, right?
yeah,
Because
it's very strange.
no young people were conservative when we were growing up, except if you were like in a
No, it was
big
vote or
Christian
die. I
area
remember,
or
I remember
whatever, yeah.
community saying vote or die.
Yeah.
And it was like very much skewed, always skewed.
And
George
also I
Bush
think it was
about black
it
people, all that.
was like you had to be pretty much Christian. And yeah, like if you're a Bible Belt area.
Shinduri says that graph could have been drawn up by anybody without anything to hint who or where finds said study. No, but I think you're just not addressing like what the causation could be behind it, right? Like we're talking about why this could happen, not that we know it's absolutely happening.
Well, I don't know if this is the case, but just from watching content, it seems like young males feel like ostracized and attacked for being a man. And then on the right or conservative side, everything is like encouraging the traditional stuff where you can be a guy or whatever. And what's weird to me is comedy was never safe in the conservative culture.
Exactly. Dude,
why the hell is it on the right side now?
They're arresting George Carlin.
That is so weird.
They were arresting George Carlin for doing stand-up.
Yeah, I don't know.
In conservative towns, right? In red states.
Yeah, that's and what was he? He's a liberal, right?
Yeah, big time.
Kiani says,
Morpheus, I'm on a live stream right now. We're talking about politics.
Come on, Morph.
We're voting for your rights.
Yeah, young men feel oppressed as a result of the Me Too movement. All the content creators like Aiden Ross and Tate feeling the anti-male movement. Yeah, I think there's something to be said about that. I don't know how pervasive that stuff is, but I don't know how the young people think, because like I think most of us think the Andrew Tate stuff is a little corny, but I don't know if like that our brains are too soft or maybe too rigid, right?
Jake said Lex Friedman, Elon Musk, Theo Vaughn, Joe Rogan. But the funny thing is all those guys were left. Like they were liberals that got pushed away.
Yeah, and all they do, what's their crime now? They just talk to people like Trump. That's what blows my mind. The crime is that they talk to people on the right. Like when Joe Rogan was getting dragged hard, it's because he had Ben Shapiro on. It's like, Jesus Christ. Well, the first time. I'm talking about the first time. The first time I remember a Joe Rogan scandal, it was him talking to Ben Shapiro. I'm not like a Ben Shapiro guy. I've listened to Ben Shapiro a bunch. I don't agree with him, like, even, I think, close to 30% of the time. But I like listening to people who I don't always agree with. So, yeah, that's where it came from. But, yeah, I think even just talking to people you don't agree with can be seen as an endorsement.
Yeah, for sure. But I don't know if it's like that anymore. I think it was just during COVID, like the cancel culture and whatever. And I don't think the real world reflects the online world, where there's a lot of like extremism online because that's how you get the clicks. And I don't know if the sentiment of what they're saying online, like, I don't think that's true. Like the way they blow up this whole like transgender stuff and woke culture and whatever, I don't really think it's that crazy in the real world.
If you talk to real people, yeah, nobody. You go to the gas station, you go to the local pub, anything. Nobody's talking about this shit ever. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, so I don't know about like the whole how real the whole divide is for right and left.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah,
I agree.
Or maybe we're just maybe it is a thing, but it's not in our circles.
I think that's definitely possible.
Yeah, and like realistically, America's fucking huge. Like when a state is very red, it is pretty damn red. And when a state is very blue, like it's fucking blue. It's like it's the same way. It's like if you're like the fact that we're talking about Nevada being a swing state, so we're like, oh shit, our vote might count.
Yeah.
Like that's wild because we've never really had that feeling that much in California. You know what I mean? So it's like it is just that drastic. We have that many different people out here, and that's what's cool, right? That's the whole point. The whole fucking point is that we all have like different viewpoints and opinions, and then our votes should dictate the majority. But I also do think we have a flawed system with the electoral college. So who cares?
I get it. And Nexus, I think you're right, bro. I think it's really just about, but I'm talking about like the big woke stuff. I think that you're right insofar as if you go to the Deep South, they talk about this quite openly. Insofar as like that it's really bad or whatever. I don't know that there's a lot of like quote unquote real people. And all I mean by that is people who are not on the motherfucking social media stuff, who are talking seriously about pro woke stuff. I've never met one. And I'm not kidding when I say that. Not one. And again, it goes, I guess, to bubbles or whatever the fuck. But man, I just think that that's crazy compared to the amount of people I've met who are against all of it.
So Josue Mira, he brought up this point of young males are skewing to the right in all countries, right? And then
I
when I was digging, I saw this article that backs that up. And I was pretty shocked to see the ideological gap in other countries.
I did hear about this.
So did you can you guys see this? So like yeah, South Korea, Germany, UK, and I thought, yeah, it's pretty interesting, right? Like it's separating in a way where like we never seen it before.
Right. It goes to the Gen Z thing that I keep hearing, where like Gen Z kids are really against woke stuff. But I don't know how true that is, but that's what I keep hearing. And I think this is very true as well. What Shundari says, it depends on how the study's weighted. Look at a lot of the polls right now. You're seeing like how much is oversampling Republicans or Democrats. Like you'll see a Fox News poll versus like a fucking Quinnipiac poll. One's oversampling Republicans, one's oversampling Democrats. And I just kicked Joe out because he wasn't paying attention. And that's what happens.
Double news, Joe not paying attention. But Joe's poll with JK
I could see his screen.
pretty multi.
I could see his screen. I could tell he's double newsing, and I just kicked him out to teach him a lesson. So that's what that's what happens when you do it on my watch, pal.
I'm double newsing right now. I'm watching us.
Don't do it on my watch, bud.
Well, I can watch us.
Are you ready to behave? Joe's mouse is kicking his ass.
Browsing around, and then I clicked away again.
Dude. It's fucking insane.
Every time you do it, I just act like I'm scolding you, and I'm like, "Are you ready? Are you ready to be a big boy now?" More evidence in the state of California that you're not our boss. Okay.
He's our employee, by the way. He's our employee. He's our employee.
He's our employee.
He's our employee.
Perhaps. Something to think about. State of California.
You know what it might be like the divide between the two genders. I think we watch different content. Like what we like to watch in general, what we care about, like what we value is different, right? Like guys might be like really concerned about, I don't know, like let's say finances. And women might be really concerned about like abortion or whatever. Yeah. Like
abortion, I think is
their period.
Yeah.
Oh, I said their period. My bad. I took a guess.
The abortion topic.
I took a swing.
Yeah, that's okay.
Might be.
Good swing.
So it could just be that we're like what do you call it? The echo chamber of you're just being confirmed from the whole like bias that you like to watch over and over.
It's like what this cat's saying. Project 2025 is real. I guess it's technically real. Yeah, it's real. It's also really debunked by Trump, who's saying, "I have nothing to do with it. These people are Looney Tunes." That's his quote.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's real because people want a boogeyman to scare you into the ballot box, right? So
yeah. If you notice, every election year, there's a shooting. There's some crazy it's just every year's hectic when it's time for the election.
Yeah, and look with the cats thing, they're talking about there's a police report where there was I guess a goose who was known in a certain area who basically got murdered by a migrant, and like they were going to eat it or whatever.
No, are they not specifically talking about the Haitian thing?
No, I think the Haitian thing wasn't real. But I think that what I'm talking about is there was a migrant group that killed. It was like two dudes who killed a fucking swan. Yeah, the cat thing is fake. Exactly. That's what I was saying earlier. But they killed the swan. And there's a police report about it. So now they just blow it up about all this shit about cats or whatever. And now that's the thing. Wait, you're saying, what do you mean there's a cat video? Not fake. Hang on. I'm interested. Breaking out of my bubble. Breaking out of my bubble.
Video is maybe older. Like if you're talking about the one on Twitter that's like not censored and really fucked up, which is crazy. This
is what I was saying. What Sophia's saying, because there was a police report about a swan, right, that got killed, and then that's like what's being taken everywhere. And then they say like cat stuff, but I haven't seen anything official about cat stuff.
Haitian thing was BS, but swan or goose sounds delicious. Like, yo,
there it is.
Straight up,
there it is.
Duck and goose is fucking
There was a real woman that ate a
delicious.
cat. She wasn't Haitian.
#1.
Heavy on drugs. There you go. There you go.
Well,
okay.
Heavy on drugs should like fucking be
Should be
kind
talked
of
about.
like a.
Should be talked about.
No, it should just
Should be a talking
anything
point.
heavy on drugs is we could put that in a bucket, right?
Yeah. There's police body cam of a lady who's stomping a cat, but was it for eating purposes? Was she tenderizing the cat? We don't know. I don't know.
What if they're just hungry?
What if they're at the what?
What if they're just hungry?
What if they're hungry? Yeah, that's what I always want to know.
I think that's a good question, Joe. What if they're hungry?
Iceman, were we betting Thursday? Dude, what's the Thursday night game, baby? What are we doing?
Hey, did you put the bet on the Eagles?
Not yet. We got to do it together.
Let's do it.
All right, let's do
Don't
it.
you have it on the app?
Yeah,
Joe,
but I don't have
Joe, we're
everybody's
betting
money.
on the Eagles to win the Super Bowl. Anybody wants to get in? We're betting $50 now.
$50
It's week
now.
1. It's
Yep.
now maybe week 2. But
When is this? Isn't it later?
good.
Isn't the Super Bowl later?
Yeah.
Very astute, Joe. Yes, it is.
So if you bet now, you get
get way better points. Yeah.
Oh.
Way
it's,
better
it's a
points.
while from now.
Dude, everyone thinks the Niners or the Chiefs are going to win. Come on, dude. Don't do normie shit. Unless it's your team. I get it.
We could hedge. We could put like $10 on that.
Yeah, we could hedge.
So are the
The
multiples
Bills,
good?
Melanie, has life not beaten you down enough? Don't believe in the Bills? Come on.
Well,
It's
this is the
called
part
Four
where-
Falls of Buffalo.
This is the part where everybody gets in the comments and don't give
Can't
we don't want any intellectual thoughts. We just want.
By the way, I
name.
never said a word about the Colts.
We
Did
just
I?
want to name.
Not a word.
Shut the fuck up. We just want
Just
to
saying.
name Trump or Harris.
Oh, there you go. Who won?
All right.
Who
Just
won?
put in your vote.
Who won?
right
Who
now?
won the debate?
Just, the debate was won by Harris. Let's not lie.
Well, people have different opinions. I
Okay,
assume,
touche,
than three
touche.
of us.
Yeah,
Touche.
who won the debate, guys?
Who
What
won
do you
the
guys
debate?
Who
think?
won the debate? That's important because, and also if you're down for it,
Yo, God, chill the fuck out, dude. Jesus Christ.
if you're down for, are you down for us to get together?
Jesus, dude.
For, oh shit.
This guy's crazy.
Are you guys down for us to get together for the actual election day, November 5th, to see how the polls roll in and get live reactions? We want to talk about with everybody out there. It's some crazy shit.
Yeah, we'll do live with everybody here. We'll have Bart. We'll have Nick, probably not, though. He'll probably cancel the day of. But then we'll have Ryan.
I'll fly in.
Yeah, Joe will be here. Joe, you're already planning on being here, right?
I wasn't, but I will.
Hell yeah. Perfect.
I'll be in California, but I'll come to
Oh,
Vegas.
perfect. So just come, yeah, just do a 45-minute flight. Let's go.
Yeah.
Even better. So, yeah, that's the plan. Election night stream. Somehow, maybe we'll be able to incorporate a Twitter feed by then. I think that would be useful to everybody. Because then we could all react to the same thing at the same time. You know what I mean?
Bart's
Dude,
gonna
some of these
fall
comments
asleep.
are fucking funny.
Bart will fall asleep. Yeah, Bart will fall asleep before the returns are in. In fact, before even like a major state comes in, like I'm talking like Florida, Bart will be like, "Hey guys, I gotta go." You guys, he'll start hugging everybody, and we're like, "Dude, it's 6:30 at night." He'll be like, "Hey, all right, dude, I'll see you."
This is a tough one. I'm not gonna lie. I really have no idea where this is gonna go.
You mean where you're gonna vote?
The election.
Oh, do you know who you're gonna vote for?
At the current moment,
Yeah,
I think I know who I'm gonna vote for.
dude, fuck you, Dank Donkey. How do I ban somebody? Dank Donkey, tell me how to ban somebody.
Keep saying Dank Donkey.
Dank Donkey, how do I ban? No, do you want to tell everybody who you're gonna vote for, or should you wait for the JK off the record that we do pre-election?
We'll wait for the JK
Oh, crazy.
off the record.
Okay, crazy.
But if you were paying attention to what I said probably like 30 minutes ago, you know where it lies. That's the whole point. Nothing is a sure bet or a win. It's just you're measuring either the difficulties of one side or the things that you care about. And just like Steve, I got
Yep,
a lot of crypto.
Yep. Mason first, then likely. Mason first, then likely.
Even
Fancy
though we've
tip.
lost a lot of money in crypto, we just don't want to
We're
lose
fine.
any more money on crypto.
We're totally fine. Everything's completely fine. We're in a right transit cycle. Everything's completely motherfucking Gucci. Just chill the fuck out. There's a reason why Bitcoin went up 1% today. We went up 15%. Everyone just chill out.
We are scooping the dip.
Relax. We
Say that.
scoop the dip the whole time. You lower your DCA down enough, and every pump is like, everyone can't believe it.
So we can't bet on the election. I just think that's a good bet.
No, we can, but we have to use crypto. And then
Well,
I get taxed because you assholes are going to be using me as a fucking courier. So yeah, I get taxed on it. So I have to charge you extra. It sucks.
Do it.
Do you guys think? All right.
Yeah.
Do you have a prediction? Not who you're gonna vote for, but do you guys have a prediction yet on who you think is gonna win?
Based on, I actually think Trump's going to win because I just don't see any enthusiasm for Kamala Harris anywhere, but that could be my own personal bubble, I guess. all I mean by that is like I go to San Diego to see my parents. This is like what May to put the old bird in the wall. We're saying bye to my grandma. We're shoving a fucking jar in a wall. I saw Trump everywhere.
Oh, everywhere. Trump flags? No Kamala flags?
Everywhere. But then is San Diego more likely for Trump? Probably, right? I have no idea. So yeah, I just think that Trump is more likely to win based on how shit the inflation rate is and how, you know, as much as everyone says the economy is so great, I don't think that that's what people feel when they go to the store. That's all I'm saying.
I have a feeling Kamala's going to win.
You really think so?
Kind of.
What's the argument do you think that carries her to victory?
I think more importantly, my track record, when I think something's going to happen, the opposite happens right away.
Okay, so you think Trump is going to win, and then so that's why you think Kamala's going to win. Got it. Love it. Joe is looking breedable. I do agree. Looking hella breedable. I need like that.
Breedable. It's always men.
Yeah, it's always men.
It's always men.
Well, Shundari, nobody did, by the way, agreed. 100,000% agreed. But everyone remembers paying for groceries under Trump versus paying for groceries under Biden. So, and by the way, how much did Trump inflate the fucking deficit during his term? More than Biden did, right? I'm talking about the time frame. So, should you blame Trump for that? Yes. Should you blame Biden for cutting energy policy as soon as he came into office, day fucking one, when he sat down at the Resolute desk? He basically put a moratorium on doing more drilling. Did that hurt the economy? Did that hurt all the trucks who are taking milk into your grocery stores and eggs and everything else? Absolutely no question about it. So that's what I'm thinking about. And that shit pisses me off. I'm like, why'd you guys have to do that? Like the first day they had to do that. The shit was so dumb.
Also,
yeah, Sophia Davis remembers this shit. And
is it fair to like not be selfless and think about like global issues and be like, okay, what's going to directly affect me for a short period of time?
That's what I'm saying with crypto. I vote for what actually impacts my actual daily life.
Because there's definitely also just like,
that's what I'm saying, Dutch. We know she won't do fracking. She's talked about it so many times.
There's also just certain tax elements that are like, if we keep some of Trump's tax policies that are set to expire in 2025 in play, we in our tax bracket will be paying less percentage on taxes.
Well, I don't disagree with you at all. Yeah. When is Tulsi returning with Trump? She's done a bunch of stuff for him lately.
The only way Tulsi's going to come back on our show is actually if Trump loses. So, I mean, it's, you know.
It depends. Honestly, if we could have Bart do the solid and like try to get Tulsi back, I think we could get Trump to come in on like.
You guys just got to help us get to 1 million views of video, and then if you guys help us do that, it's really about the numbers.
Easier for RFK to win.
Legit.
Yeah.
If our numbers were crazy big, I mean, come on, like Aiden Ross had Trump out of all people.
Yeah, legit skis.
But it's because, I mean, that's the whole game now, right? They know they know online is the future.
Yeah, and I don't think that that's wrong. I think that they're really smart about it. I actually do think it's a big mistake to have Trump on for only 1 hour for Lex Friedman, for example. Give him the full 3 so we can all fall asleep by hour 1:30, like I'm used to doing for Lex Friedman. You know what I mean? Because I didn't get my sleep in.
I mean, even Lex afterwards is like, I would love to sit down with Kamala. I would love to sit down with, you know.
We know she won't be on there.
It's just that is a big difference.
We know she won't be on
people who are willing to sit down and just go toe to toe with like.
By the way, Trump calling out fucking Joe Rogan, huge mistake. So yeah, a lot of mistakes happening here. So yeah, I do agree with Jen though. Trump low energy today.
Yeah, he didn't bring it. I thought he was going to go a little harder.
No question.
But I wonder if he had to play that because he just can't look like a dude bullying a woman or an old man.
Yeah, look, great point, Joe. Baby says, what about Sean Ryan's Trump interview, Steve? Let me just point you out to one singular thing that Trump always does. Somebody says, hey, what would you actually do to solve this Israeli-Palestine conflict on day one. He doesn't ever tell you. He'll just say, it never would have happened if I was president. And that is just, it's just such a mistake to do that, I think, for him. He never just answers the goddamn motherfucking question. He just has to like go postulate about his presidency and about how kick-ass he was. And he falls into it too many times in a row. And yeah, it just doesn't help him at all. It hurts him. Hurts him a lot. So yeah, that was my thoughts on the Sean Ryan interview. I didn't think Sean Ryan got an answer out of him. And I like Sean Ryan, like you guys do. I just don't get why he can't fucking answer the goddamn question. So
we have a question from Vorpal Snickersnack. They gave us a bit of a, they paid for the question.
Got it. Do people vote if options are evil, stupid versus delusional evil, or individual benefits versus group benefits? Anthony, take it away. Immediate thoughts.
Do people vote if options are evil, stupid versus delusional evil, or individual? Okay, first of all, everybody votes for individual benefits. All right, people who vote for group benefits don't know what it is to be an individual yet because they're not taking care of themselves. That's my first thought.
When you go to Costco, you're buying the rotisserie chicken for yourself, not for your neighbor.
Yep.
You dig it? That's what
I think a lot of people vote just because their group does.
Yeah, I think you're right, Joe.
I think that's most people. Like most people are just going to vote whatever their family and friends do because that's just how humans are. For no reason.
On the other side, though,
yeah,
a lot of humans also say that, and then when they go into the space, they vote for what's actually going to benefit them.
Oh, they bullshit? Yeah.
I'm not saying most. I'm just saying in the same amount of most humans who don't know. If they don't know, they're going to vote what everybody says. If they do know, they're going to say what everybody wants to hear, and then they're going to vote what they need.
I think they'll vote what they need is 1,000% accurate.
So
yeah, I guess it depends because like when you're a college student, you don't really need shit. You vote a lot on emotions.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're coming out of college or maybe you're done with college, you maybe meet me at a Costco like Megan Garibay did. And I've met many of you at Costco.
I met some people at Costco. Costco is amazing. It's one of my favorite places on earth.
Yeah. But I'm not there for my neighbors. I'm there for me, dude. I'm there to get bulk for me, baby.
Look, conceptually, I don't think just to like, regardless of Costco,
yeah.
I don't think that there's not.
I hope you incorporate Costco.
Yeah, sure. So the idea that, okay, so Costco, right? When you're like younger and you don't have like a mortgage or children or whatever, and you're not paying for your own Costco membership, you enjoy perks about Costco because your parents are taking you. Therefore, you just want what you want and you want what you believe is right. But then when you're older and you're the person paying for the membership, then you start thinking in a totally different way. If you're the one who's like bringing somebody along with you who has to buy the things that they want, you're going to start being like, hey, actually, let's not get that. We don't need that, blah, blah, right? That's literally how this shit works. When you're in fucking college and you don't have responsibilities outside of your own idealisms, you're going to vote a certain way.
Yeah.
Then you get older and then you realize the world works in a very particular way. You stop focusing on being a hero to the world. You start only focusing on protecting your own world. You have your ideal.
But I think people start that way.
No, I think they start with a holistic attitude of being like the world's savior because that's the best thing to be. You get to be an idealist, right?
Okay.
But that's the point, though. If everybody progresses through Asian experience to eventually becoming something, it's ironic that it's so difficult to hear what older people say when you're younger and idealist. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Ironic is all I'm saying.
But isn't it ironic that you don't even buy Kinjabang noodles when you go to Costco? You buy
I do it online because bigger margins.
You buy Nongcha?
KinjaBangNoodles.com. Bigger margins. We're talking about profit, baby.
What do they say? There's that saying, like if you're
talk to me.
If you're liberal and you're old, you ain't got a brain, but if you're conservative and young, you ain't got a heart.
I always feel bad about that one because I was conservative and young. So I'm like, damn, dude. But it's not wrong. But here's the thing, they scared me so bad, really, right?
Yeah.
The truth is they scared me so bad. I thought that like the terrorists were coming to get us and shit like that. I really thought that. Like really.
But I think politics is almost like a religion where you're born into a political family. You just vote a certain direction. You just never question it.
Yeah, you're not wrong, but ultimately it took, getting older and seeing when Obama won, I remember going like, okay, I guess these wars are really done. And then he expanded the wars. And I was like, whoa, this is.
I think a lot of people felt like Obama was going to change everything.
Yeah. And I thought ultimately, I was like, this is crazy. I was like, this is my first like mental bash, I guess, or whatever, where it's like, oh shit, doesn't matter who gets elected. You know, the deep state, quote unquote, like CIA, FBI, you know, NSA, those guys are in charge. Obama couldn't have shit on those guys harder, right? And then he just completely about face as soon as he gets in. And nothing cracks me up harder, Joe, than when George W. Bush was interviewed before Obama took office. He said, wait till he gets in here, he'll completely agree with me. And that's exactly what happened. And I've never seen anything like that. George W. Bush is not exactly a smart person enough where you go, oh, yeah, he'll be able to predict what Barack Obama, a guy from Chicago, is going to do once he gets in here.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, nobody, right? The deep state weapons manufacturers, they're in charge. They're in charge of, you know, it's what Tulsi was telling us when she was there. She's like, you have to do battle with all these, you know, corporations who have representation through the lobbyists, and you're just stuck with them. So that's the idea of the deep state, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just it, and yeah, I would like to talk about that, Sophia. She says deep state. You want to talk about that? Haha, contract her wife here. Yeah, I mean, yeah, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
It's very good.
It's very good. But yeah,
hey, don't hate the player, hate the game.
Yeah, no, and legitimately, like it's a whole model. Like there's a reason why, you know, where I grew up, Fairfax, Virginia, has the most amount of money per capita for, you know, for people who are just getting income because the government is behind it, right? So they have huge amounts of funding at all times. Those boats get raised at all times. They don't have to worry about any economy. Oh, are you worried about a downturn? You know what I mean? Yeah, there you go. You give $6 billion to Lockheed in 23.
No, Eastern time, dude. They're 20 minutes away from 9/11.
Oh shit! Are you about to give a speech? You want to go memorize your shit?
Hey,
you gonna go memorize your shit? Are you gonna do the dance? Will you finally do the dance? Just so we can just be done with it.
The 9/11 performance, or the way that it didn't.
Will you actually just do the dance?
This is what Joe wants. He wants this, and then he wants this.
The leaning tower of.
That's like the Michael Jackson thing, where with the gun guy. The gun guy was like, remember this shit? No, you don't remember it? Wait, here, pull a gun on me. Pull a gun on me. Michael Jackson, like,
boom, and he does a flip.
No, he lowers the gun, dude. He lowers the gun because he's like for peace and shit. It's a beautiful moment. You don't remember that? It's one of the most beautiful moments in rock history, dude. Joe knows that shit.
He's such a man for peace, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
He was trying to tell the world something.
Trying to tell the world a big.
He just wanted to use his music to heal everybody.
Like, is it worth it if he touches another 12 kids?
We didn't. I don't know if
you're the one who asked that question.
I did say.
You don't think that they're ready for it. We don't want to demonetize this video.
We don't.
Okay, so let's stick to.
I said, what if you get an?
No.
I said, what if you get another hit, or maybe 12 kids. That's what I said.
We can move on.
What would you pick? That's but then So, yeah.
I think politics can be kind of depressing when it's too much.
I agree.
It's like, also they're so far away. Like, as in, like, the real people that can affect you is local politics, but no one gives a damn and no one participates with that. They'll have a bigger effect on how you live, but everyone focuses on federal.
That's a fact.
But for me, get money. Don't fuck bitches, just your wife.
Yeah.
Make sure you have a tight friend group, and you guys can survive anything.
I agree with that completely.
Dude, closing statement from Joe.
Closing statement from Joe is beautiful. Tell Bart to contact and remind Tulsi JustKiddingNews is the #1 Asian American podcast in the USA.
You're Asian American.
I am on an Asian American show.
Yeah, he's our Caucasian.
But there's enough friction on my penis to, I think, pass a DNA test.
That's why it's Caucasian.
So I'm not worried about it. Yeah, because I'm ultimately not worried about it. All right, guys, that's all the time we have for tonight. We appreciate you guys coming out. Don't forget, November 5th, we're going to be voting. We're going to be here. I mean, probably literally here.
Possibly literally.
And live, right? So we'll be live with the boys. We're going to figure out a way to somehow incorporate an X stream of election returns, and we'll all react to it. And we'll have Bart probably live jerking off every time Trump wins a state.
Yeah, but as long as it's before 6:30.
Yeah. As long as it's before 6:30.
Also, it's not too late to make financial donations that we'll never see, but like
Yeah,
our
we don't see
employer
it.
Joe,
We don't see
like
it. He's not our employer, actually.
He's living the dream in Hawaii
He's not our-
because your donations are helping
That's
him
right.
pay his
Yeah, I don't
rent.
know why California keeps taxing me. I'm never there.
He's never there. He's in Hawaii. Meanwhile, I'm sitting here on like a linoleum floor, right? Everyone's struggling over here. Struggling. Yep. Joe got a beautiful view. It's the sun is still out for Joe because they pay for it to be that high all day.
No lasers out there.
That's it. Oh, dude. Jesus. Colts v. Packers. Give me Packers. I'm a Colts fan. I know how it goes. Malik Willis will fucking throw the ball all day against us.
Thanks for coming through.
They'll
everybody.
run the ball on us all day with Josh Jacobs.
Thank you for contributing.
We gave
your
up
thoughts
150 fucking yards
and your questions. We're
no,
always
250
thankful
yards
for you.
We're going to lose that game. We're going to lose that game. It's going to suck.
If you want to join us on the bet, $50 on the Eagles to win the Super Bowl starting now. Odds
Malik
are pretty
Willis.
good, apparently.
Malik Willis owns the Colts. You'll see.
Hey,
exactly, Javen. You
see
get
you
it.
guys later.
All right, peace, folks.
Thanks,
Bye.
guys, for all
Love
joining.
you guys. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Melanie. Thanks, everybody. Bye.